everybody. As the Secretary and Treasurer start with the pledge.
Scott
Roll
Howard.
call, rather, I'm sorry. Yeah, you did pledge already, right?
Roll call.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Scott Howard's president.
Yeah, I'm here.
William Pell, president. Edward J. Warner.
Here.
Ann Walker.
Here.
And William Parrish.
Present.
There we go.
Ready to go.
All right, we'll start with the discussions. I see we have Mary Ann Eddy here. Ready to go? Ready to go this time?
Yes.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. So when I was here last time, people were kind of in the mode of like, so we're doing all this testing, why are we doing all this testing? What is this testing getting us? So rather than going through the report, which I think you've all had access to, I'm just gonna go into what we're doing with the results of this testing. I also have like some clips that can show you specific results for Southampton Town, if you wanna go into that later or have questions that could be backup for. So, okay, let's see. What has all this testing gotten us, right? So what it's done is it's gotten us grants for green and gray infrastructure that will impact water quality. This is a long game. I think we all realize this is a long game that we're playing here. Nothing that's gonna
Right.
change in a matter of months.
Right,
It's
you
how
know,
it-
just to not to stop, maybe just to back up a little bit, just for the public.
Yeah.
A little bit about yourself and who you're representing, that way they understand.
Sure.
Little bit.
My name is Mary Ann Eddy. I live in Sag Harbor. I've been on the Harbor Committee since 2015. In 2016, I went to one of Dr. Gobler's State of the Bays presentations. I was very impressed. I thought we need to have him focus on Sag Harbor. What is the water like in Sag Harbor? So he did a proposal, and it came in at $20-some thousand, and the trustees in Sag Harbor said, well, this is very interesting, but we don't have that kind of money. So we decided that, I decided that I would go out and find the money, and we did. And we have had him come in and look at our water every year now. This is our 5th year. And he does a presentation in April, and he does a lengthy, very scientific, kind of over my pay grade report that's 60, 70, 80 pages long. And then he also does a presentation, a slide presentation to us. And I think those of you who have seen his presentations know he's very personable, and he gives a lot of depth and color to what could be kind of, you know, boring, but it's very enlightening. So we've continued to do this. We have the support of the village, but the village over the history of the 5 years has contributed about 25% of the total cost of these projects. So we get support from you, gotten support from Southampton Town, East Hampton trustees, and then a number of different organizations and individuals. Every year it comes up to a little less than $30,000. So I'm here hoping that you will renew your support for this project.
Okay, now you can go on with your presentation.
Okay.
This way the public's got the,
Yes,
they
of
kind of
course.
understand where we're going.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Good job, though, thank you.
So, all right, so what has this gotten us? What it does is it's gotten us over $1.5 million in grants for green infrastructure in Southampton and East Hampton, from the CPFs, from the Suffolk County 1/4% sales tax, and from the EPA through the Peconic Estuary Partnership. And right now we have $66,000 in a New York State grant for the study of Havens Beach watershed, including gray infrastructure. And then the hope is, once we have a model for this, then we can replicate this. And that would take the model that we have for Havens Beach, how we study everything that goes north from 114 and drains into the problems that we have at Havens Beach, which you may not be interested in, but we could take that model and then put it into the coves, where we all agree that we have some problems, because we need to study what the gray infrastructure as well as green infrastructure is like in that part of Sag Harbor in order to be able to solve the problems that we have in the coves. And then, most interestingly, is we've gotten over $4 million in various grants over multiple years for the expansion of the sewer service area. Our sewer treatment plant runs at about 60% capacity, and we have very low-lying areas in Sag Harbor that would benefit from being sewered. There are people there who can't flush their toilet during high tides, especially with the full moon, certainly can't do the laundry. They're living kind of in groundwater up to their chins. So those areas definitely need to be sewered, and I'm going to show you more about that. And this is something that definitely is going to impact Southampton. So what do they say? So Aidan Korish, any of you know Aidan Korish, another very personable member of the Southampton Sag Harbor Board of Trustees. He said that every grant that we put out there has these studies attached to it. And working with Chris Gobler gives us a lot of weight and a lot of respect in the grant-making community. And in July, during a 5-year Peconic Estuary Partnership accreditation meeting with the National Estuary Program and the EPA, Sag Harbor was called a champion for water quality. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we knuckle down and we do this study every year. So what is public enemy number one? I think everybody, in terms of water quality, recognizes that even more than pathogens, it's nitrogen. What is the long game here? It's the nitrogen problem that we have. And the number one source of nitrogen are these on-site wastewater septic systems. So this is, I don't know if you can quite see this, but let's see. The blue, let me just walk up there so I can read it. The very low blue bar there is the dissolved inorganic nitrogen. The yellow bar is total nitrogen.
I don't know if the mic's not picking you up. You need the
Marianne,
microphone.
if
Yeah,
you
you
stand
gotta
at the podium.
Oh,
look back.
is it
Yeah,
your
look
right?
back. Yeah,
TV
you
How
gotta.
about
behind
that?
Yeah,
There it is.
Yeah, you gotta.
Sorry about that. Okay, so explaining this slide here, this is the nitrogen discharge from the sewage treatment plant. And the dissolved inorganic nitrogen and the total nitrogen come down way below any of the top performing IA on-site water treatment systems. And normal sewage treatment plants come in at about 10 milligrams of nitrogen per liter. We're coming down in there at less than 2, which is really star quality performance. And then the Suffolk County standard for IA systems is less than 20. Your normal cesspool septic system, it runs between 60 and 80. So this is really good. The more the takeaway from this is the more homes that we can get onto the sewage treatment plant, the better off our water quality is going to be. So this is the master sewer plan that was done by Cameron Engineering. And if you can see here, up at the top, you can see a circle with K. That's the area in Southampton town that's ginned up to be one of the first areas that would have that expanded sewer system. And L is the portion in East Hampton town. In total, it's about 100 residences. There's about 60 in Southampton and about 40 in East Hampton. And this, which is impossible to read, but it shows you that it wasn't just a roll of the dice in how these areas were selected. There's on-site the treatment, the effluent generated in all those different categories. You can see down here all the different segments of Sag Harbor. And then it's graded by how much effluent is coming from on-site wastewater treatment, the density of the nitrogen, the high groundwater, how high is the groundwater in those residential areas, and then the percentage of non-vacant parcels, meaning, okay, so are there a lot of vacant parcels so they're not spewing out, nitrogen into the water because they don't have cesspools? And that's very low in that area. And you can see that all these numbers together come together in the far right corner, and it gives you a total. And those are the ones that have been selected, and that's how we got L and K as the first, the first areas to have this expanded sewer system, service area. Now, this is on the horizon. You can see up there in the red, The topmost one is K, and then the bright orange one is L. Those are the first two that are ginned up. But then you see the long diagonal one. That's the one that goes down Main Street, and it encompasses Otter Pond. So this is like looking out into the future where the sewer would actually go, and it would come down and it would scoop up all of the residences around Otter Pond. And the most recent study, we looked at the culvert that leads from Otter Pond into Sag Harbor Cove, and it was filthy. So this is the long-term plan. So this year, what we're planning to do, or what's in progress right now, is we're going to return to Amherst and Cove road ends, both testing and designing rain gardens. They're not very dramatic. They're not high-tech. They are very efficient rain gardens. And we have some beautiful rain gardens now in Sag Harbor, really vibrant. And they do a lot to remove pathogens. They do a lot to remove nitrogen. And they also do things where they work on, what is it, metals.
Heavy metals?
Thank you, heavy metals. So Amherst and Cove road ends are two of the areas that have the most water going out through outfall pipes. So we had some funding to put rain gardens there, and that was kind of discombobulated during the last administration in Sag Harbor. Tom Gardella is very much in favor of rain gardens, so we're going to go back and we're going to look at those areas, and we are testing the water there now so we can have a before and after picture. We're also going into Sag Harbor Cove at the Ship Ashore Marina, always on the lookout there to see whether or not we have problems with boats. Upper Sag Harbor Cove, which is right there at the other side of the culvert, we're looking at nitrogen pathogens and harmful algae blooms. And then the swimming beach at Havens Beach. You may have less interest in Havens Beach, but what we found is traditionally the thought has been that it is the sump that is polluting Havens Beach. And this past year, we not only looked at the part of the beach that's right there by the sump that enters off of Bay Street, but we also looked at the bathing beach. And we found the bathing beach was equally or even more polluted with pathogens, which was a big shock. And we don't know where it's coming from. So this year we're trying to figure out where is that coming from. And then Windmill Beach, again, it might not be your prime interest. It's not part of Sag Harbor, or I'm sorry, Southampton town, but it is a place where you were talking about your grandchild when I came in here. Where would you want to take your kid for a nice, protected, safe, place to go paddling around, dabbling in the water? It is not a nice place to do that. You see that area over there in the corner of the water and the beach. There's a lot of Spartina there. There's an outfall pipe there that goes all the way from Main Street, up Main Street by the library, all the way down through Main Street, and it empties there. And this year, for the first time, we've gotten into that pipe, and we're testing there. We are also, you can see that there's some boats there. They've expanded those transient docks now in Sag Harbor, and we're testing there to make sure that the boats are keeping their Y valves closed, and that's not the source of the pollution. So cost for 2023, it's $16,000 for the biweekly testing, and then it's $250 per sample for the microbial source tracking. And I think you all are familiar with that, and you know that that's a matter of finding out where the pathogens are coming from, whether or not it's deer, birds, humans, dogs, or other small mammals. And the total needed, somewhere upwards to $30,000. And then I'm asking you all to please do what you have in the past, is support us with $2,000. And there's the history of what you've given us over these last 5 years. So.
Thank you.
What's next? We're looking for $20,000. After we get this done, and I still have about $10,000 to find, including what I hope is $2,000 from you all, is need to find money for the match that we need for the New York State grant. As you're aware, a lot of New York State grants make you pony up and match some of the money they give you. For that watershed study of Havens Beach, we need to find about $20,000. But once we do that, and we will do that, then it'll give us a model that can be taken over and replicated in Southampton town, part of Sag Harbor. And then, one of the things, you saw that table there that showed how they selected which are the prime areas for the sewer service expansion area. There was also in that draft report a suggestion that we might want to move the sewage treatment plant. Why do we have a sewage treatment plant right there on the water in Sag Harbor? Couldn't there be a better place? Not only would it restore views and access to the waterfront, but it would also allow water to be returned to groundwater as opposed to being, pumped out into the bay. So they estimated that 2 years ago that a cost to look at the feasibility of moving that plant and where the locations might be would be somewhere like $60,000. But, prices go up, so I'm thinking $70,000. And I have an organization that will match what we raise. So need to come up on top of the money for this plan. On top of the $20,000, I would like to find $35,000. And I'm not here asking you for it, but I'm just trying to tell you that this study is part of a larger plan. And that would be to raise the money so that we could look at where we might possibly relocate the sewage treatment plant. One idea, of course, is to mimic what they did in Riverhead, where they took the sewage treatment plant there, and after they've treated the influent, they have the effluent going out and irrigating Indian Island golf course. Very successful. And 2, 3, 4 years ago, there was a preliminary talk with New York State whether or not they would be willing to give us land, because all the land around the Sag Harbor golf course is New York State land. And it was kind of a tell me more kind of response. It wasn't a no, it wasn't a yes, it was tell me more. And that was what was appropriate at that time. But we need to gin that out. That's a 2-mile uphill pump. So, but it's feasible. And it's not all uphill. I live around where the funeral home is, and after you get up that far, it's all downhill. But it's pumping the effluent up. The other possibility, and there's probably others, but the other possibility would be taking it all the way out to the airport, which would then allow potentially downstream, and we're all talking perhaps beyond our lifetimes, but where Georgia Capon, Wainscott, all those deeply polluted ponds in East Hampton, but we're all talking, water doesn't know boundaries, right? That we could end up attaching those communities to a vibrant sewage treatment plant around the airport. Maybe the effluent could irrigate an organic garden, who knows? But that would all be part of a study that we're trying to do.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
okay, sorry. Went on a bit. Any questions?
No, I find it very interesting how you're looking at the current and you're also looking at the future. Because the future, there's going to be more housing, more people,
Right.
and more problems. So I think you're on the right course. I do have one comment when you talk about Watermill, the Windmill Beach and the Havens Beach. All of that water doesn't know boundaries.
Right.
It is state water. It is East Hampton, but it does come into Sag Harbor Cove, which is our town waters.
Exactly.
So it all circulates together.
Thank
So
you.
whatever you do on the outside or the inside will benefit everybody.
Thank you.
And that was one of the, being a bayman for 40-plus years, that was a prime scallop area for decades and decades.
Windmill
And
Beach?
That,
whole-
outside,
Outside.
Havens Beach and everything.
Yeah.
And there are scallops inside the breakwater, which is uncertified, but they do spawn and they do contribute to the larger population.
Right.
But, there are issues with the scallops right now, and it seems to be, pointing the water warming and also with more, nutrients in the water. So if
Right.
we can get rid of some of those nutrients, maybe we can bring back the scallop population, which, is another mechanism to filter. And it's, great for the local economy, and it's good for everybody. So
Everybody.
I really see this as a much bigger, picture than what you're painting with just, the sewage treatment here. I see the watershed and I see the bays, and I see, the submerged aquatic vegetation coming back.
Yes.
Which we've lost, with the, in the 80s and early 90s with the brown tide. That,
Right.
and that killed most of the, eelgrass and such. So if we can get less nitrogen and less algae in the water, we can get cleaner water, and then we could, accomplish getting that back. So
Right.
I really see this as a win-win for everybody.
Well,
Thank you.
It's an example of a collaboration. As you said, there's no boundaries for where the water flows.
No.
So everybody's got to be rowing in the same direction, as opposed to just going around in circles. And,
Thank you.
if you think about it, you've been reading about this locally in the paper, about the depletion of our aquifer. And, when you're thinking about recharging the aquifer versus pumping it out back into the water, now you're even more forward-thinking, because, it's really important that we maintain these aquifers. You see this going on,
Well, we did do that, I believe, with, was it Rowe Industries, when they wanted to pump all the water into Ligony Brook, and we recommended it to be recharged back into the groundwater. So it can be done.
Right.
They have the science and the
Right.
engineering to do
Right.
this.
right, and you need potable water. I mean, Long Island, it's a big issue,
It's a big
so you
issue.
got to be thinking about this moving forward, and you are doing that. So,
Right.
it's what I've always, believed in. When you have a group of people in collaboration trying to figure out how to get something done professionally, generally, you can accomplish that. So,
I
I mean,
agree.
I think we should do our share, as we've always done consistently, and contribute as we have. And we should
Good.
certainly do that.
I just have two quick questions. When you are looking at areas L and K and prioritizing those residential situations over the commercial, why is that?
Because the commercial area, Main Street, is already on the sewer. That's what, right now, the sewage treatment plant collects water. There's sewers that go up and down Main Street, and then a few offshoots. I can send you this thing, it actually shows that. There's a crosshatch that shows presently sewered areas. I should have made this bigger.
No,
Oh,
no.
there we go.
Thank you.
So, right, you see the dividing line between Southampton and East Hampton?
Mhm.
And right up there at the waterfront, you see, you see some,
Moving target.
just sort of gray and black crosshatch.
Mhm.
That's the area that's presently sewered.
Got it, okay.
Right.
So not all of Main Street, but a portion of it, the western.
Right.
portion. Is that correct?
Well,
I'm sorry, the eastern portion.
no, it's both sides of it, but it's only in the commercial district, because once you get out of
Oh, I
there and
see,
you
I
start
see.
getting into the light green area, that's where it becomes residential.
I see.
And the church, if you're aware of the church that was renovated and now
Yep.
a community
Art
center,
space. Uh-huh.
they paid, I don't know, some millions of dollars to extend the sewer, like 400 feet, so that they could get onto the sewer line. So right up there past El Cappuccino,
Mhm.
that's the normal end. Now it goes to the church, which is just like maybe the next property south.
Okay, great. And the second thing, you mentioned that this is basically a public-private partnership in the funding for this.
Right.
If people that are watching
Right.
at home, when they're watching, where would they be able to contact you so that if they were interested to, they might contribute
Great question,
To-
Ann.
to some of those projects
Right.
that are forthcoming?
So probably the best is to email me, which, my name is Mary Ann Eddy, so my email address is MEDDY, and then it's at sagharbor.ny.gov. That's my Sag Harbor Committee address, and that would be the most appropriate place to reach out.
Great.
And I'm sure that if they forget that, they could contact you, and you would send them in the right direction.
We would.
That would be wonderful. We do have a number, excuse me, a number of private individuals who have been contributing every year,
Great.
so.
So next steps then for this?
Well, resolution.
Resolution.
Proper resolution at the proper time, but I don't think anybody's opposed to, it's kind of in our budget, we want to work with you.
I think we
So-
accounted for it.
Yeah, we did.
Yes,
So we're good,
yeah,
We just
yeah,
have to
good.
do our resolution.
Yep.
So-
Okay.
So our next meeting is, I think, September 6th.
Okay.
So we would put a resolution on for that. You wouldn't have
You
to
don't have
come
to come
back, but that's sort of our
Okay.
next step, and then we'll get the ball rolling with
Okay,
checks.
Thank you
But
so
Thank
much.
you very much. Sorry
Nice to
for the
see you.
Thank you,
strikeout the
Marion.
first
Thanks.
time, but
Thank you.
it allowed you to refocus, so it's great.
Have a great one. Okay, so let's move over to the general permit applications for determination. I have one up, Michelangelo Ferrari Irrevocable Trust over at 36 Bonita Road, represented by the owner. Is the owner here? You want to come up and discuss your project?
I don't think that makes sense.
Hmm?
That lady's
Okay, you can sit here. You got to sign in.
You just sign in and state your name for the record, please.
You did this project already?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So there's an as-built fee?
It's not on here, so there's a couple of deficiencies in this application. We can go over this. You scroll up a little bit there, Charlotte? Up the other way. Down, I should have said.
The other up?
Up, keep going. I don't think he signed the application, did he? Right. No, it's unsigned, right? Yeah. It's basically, he's installed landward, and here's some pictures. I don't know if you have these, I can give you these. That's what it looks like now, right? There it is. You got it for everybody to see right there.
yes.
Right, so,
Well, the ground was receding, so
well, yeah, but generally you come to us for a permit first.
I didn't know. I just bought the house 2.5 years ago, and the gentleman, the contractor that did the job, he says it's repair.
That's-
Year on year, so.
Who was that?
You may not want to ask that one.
8 docks,
Record.
8 docks.
Okay, well.
Trainers having a center.
I got you. Well, for the public's edification, you have to come to the trustees for permits before you do projects.
Yes, I realize that now.
All right, so this is gonna be, it's already done. It was done with compliant material.
Was there a raise in elevation?
It looks like it's matching.
It matches the neighbors.
The neighbors,
See,
so,
This is the neighbor, I guess, believed to the,
right.
to
Most
the
of the
north.
neighbor on both sides.
match it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's okay, but.
Snow buffer?
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to put a buffer. He's also has a request on here. You're gonna have to cure some deficiencies in
Yes,
this
I am.
application.
Yes, when I get the application, I'm just gonna either put grass on the side and build like a deck for they going to the dock.
Right, so he's got on here, he's proposing a wood walkway, 4 foot by 75 foot is what he's got on this
No, that,
application.
I
No?
priced that, I'm not gonna do that no more.
All right, so you're gonna have to amend this application,
Oh,
okay? You're gonna have to put exactly what it is that you're gonna do on this application. You have to indicate as-built, okay, on this application, which is, and then you have to sign it. All right, so we need to know exactly what it is that you're proposing, because right now
I'm
it's.
just gonna put a little deck on the right side.
well, we would need to know the dimensions of the deck.
Yes, I got them here, I just,
but we-
And the
But we-
material?
And on the character of work on the application, you need to state all of that on that,
oh,
in that
okay.
little
Right.
area there.
So, right, so what you're gonna have to do is, you're gonna have to get another one of these, and you're gonna have to list all of this that you're gonna do properly, and I'll tell you that you're gonna have to do some buffering on this as well, because you're talking about grass, so you're gonna want.
Grass or rocks, I don't know, the deck was, I got
Okay.
some prices, so. And then after 10 years, he told me, I have to redo it again.
Yeah.
In 10 years
Yes, that's
No.
what he probably did.
for bulkhead?
No,
Redo
no,
what again?
Deck, decking.
The complete bulkhead. When I bought the house 3 years ago, the engineer told me it was 15 years, good for 15 years.
Huh,
And then all of a sudden, the ground started receding,
right,
so I had to do it.
right, but did you get permits from the state of New York? Did you get permits from anybody, or nobody?
Nothing. This gentleman did the dock across the street and on the side, so I got him.
Right,
And
so
he
he's
told me,
just,
so he told
doing
me.
stuff.
Yeah,
We might need to look into that,
Yeah.
if it's,
Well-
especially if it's multiple properties.
Yeah, I
In this
mean,
area?
you can't, Yeah.
Especially if someone is saying, if a business owner is saying that there are no two homeowners without the benefit of a consultant who would know better.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
Well, I didn't know what they
No.
did.
No, no, no.
I
We're
understand,
saying,
but we-
we're
you know.
saying usually some people have a consultant who would help with this process, and the consultants know that not only at the local level, but also at the state level, permits are
Can you zoom in the whole
required.
neighborhood?
Well,
See what's in the neighborhood.
Is that the one prior to it being worked on?
you know what it is,
Is that the property there with the red?
it's enforcement, yeah,
This might be a couple years old.
it's enforcement issues, you know, people,
Yeah.
they have to check when there's barges and projects going on to make sure people have permits. Because sometimes they're using the wrong material, and it's all going wrong. All right, so we need to hold this, we can't advance this. You need to redo this cover sheet, right? With specifically the information that's needed, that you have.
Mhm.
You need to get it on this cover sheet. You need to indicate that this is an as-built.
We have that.
You got that?
Yeah, we have the fee for the best.
You have that, okay, because it's not indicated on the sheet I have here, okay? But you need to show us the plans of what you're gonna do in
I
the
just wanna put a
application.
little walkway to the dock, to go down to the.
So you just drew a little sketch
Just a
on
little,
the
yeah.
thing.
Just few, maybe 200 feet.
Whatever, it needs to get on the
On the-
official
okay.
paperwork, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because that
And have a
becomes,
drawing on the,
At the beginning, I didn't know.
I understand.
asked, for help, and I was in the dark,
I-
so.
we fully understand, but but from here forward, we need to
Okay,
get it
okay, I
tight.
understand better too myself now.
Right, I understand. But from here, like, we want to get your paperwork
Okay.
straight, and you want to get your paperwork straight.
Yes.
Right? So I think what you should do is contact, James, contact the
Okay.
staff, they'll give you some direction on what we need. How soon do you think you can get this information to us?
Well, right away, I guess.
Can you get it by the 6th of September?
I think so. I mean, do I have to redo the application again?
Yeah,
The
this-
first page.
This
The
page,
first
and
page.
any,
Yeah.
any supporting documentation that's
Okay.
needed to substantiate what it is that you're doing, we're gonna need.
Okay,
So, I don't know if you wanna put them on for September 6th,
work
move to
session?
that, work
Yeah.
session.
Yeah, why not? I
And
think
then
that-
we could revisit it.
Right,
Yes.
we're gonna,
Prior
we're gonna
to.
hold this,
yeah,
Till the
because
next
I'm
work
old,
session.
Yeah, I would appreciate that.
yes, but, and
It's a
then
mess.
contact the office, go over the details of exactly what we're gonna need so that we could be actionable on that day,
Okay.
okay? I think that's the most sensible thing we do for you.
Thank
What
you.
about DEC guidance?
Well, James can direct him in that. You can have to tell him what
Yeah.
the other things are that he needs to do, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah,
Let's do that,
we'll worry about ours.
okay?
Very
And
good.
we'll explain, give you some instruction on the process. All right, so contact the office, you can ask for James.
Yes.
He's a nice man, he'll,
Yeah, I met him before. He's the
Okay.
one that showed me the application.
okay.
James or Charlotte, Charlotte also works in the office. and
Right,
she-
yes.
We got
either-
Charlotte,
either-
we got
either-
James.
Either one of them will be able to help you
Okay.
through the process.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Okay. I got Michael Federico, 47 Romano Drive in Hampton Bays. Is he here? All right. Want to do 100-foot of bulkhead, no change in height. Construction materials will be the PVC and all non-treated lumber. What's he got in here? I can't read that. What does that say? Current? What's this say? Current?
Current 6x100.
6 by 100, right, replaced with 5 foot of beach grass and 5 foot of peat gravel stone. So what he wants to do, it looks like, is redo his bulkhead at the same height with appropriate material. He has a 6x100 walkway there. He wants to replace that with 5 feet of beach grass and 5 feet of gravel stone.
Does he have a walkway between the house and the bulkhead? So
Let's
he
look at the
can,
pictures here.
No,
Yeah.
not according to GIS, but I don't know what year this is.
Here.
I mean,
This is here.
proposed plans.
So beach grass and stone, right?
Yeah.
Which is acceptable for Blue Book.
No, it is. It's a good project.
So he's no height change, so I think he's good to go with our board. Beach grass and stone.
As long as it says no mow, no fertilize,
Yeah.
no
well,
irrigate, because there are quite a few properties on this, in this neighborhood that have lawn right up to the bulkhead.
Right, well, he's saying 5 feet of beach grass and 5 feet of
Stone.
Yep.
stone.
We're sure not gonna mow the stone.
Right. So I think this one's good
Hopefully not.
to go. Good?
All right.
Trustee Parish?
Yes.
Trustee Powell? You're terrific.
We just need the plan stamped.
Yeah, so you'll advise him. All right. Lynn Leahy, 15 Tarpon Road.
My husband, Mike Blake.
Are you gonna, you're her husband, you gonna come represent this?
Yes.
Come on up.
Good morning.
All right, so this one also, I think you guys did this already.
Yes.
So this is an
During
as-built,
COVID.
right? So you got this marked as an as-built? I don't see it indicated here. Yes? Okay. So you redid the existing bulkhead. Then we've got a 6x20 floating dock, 2x8 Doug fir framing, galvanized nut washers, 2x75 walkway with AZAC decking. No treated material. No height increase, no treated lumber.
Correct.
And we have the plans, you guys, we have all the engineered stamp plans that we're supposed to have for this?
We have plans, we have the survey that's stamped, the plan, the cross view is not stamped. Would you like to,
Pull that microphone over, please.
So this section is not stamped, so.
You have an engineer that's handling this for you? Somebody's handling this? Because we're supposed to have stamp plans.
Stamp from who? The guy that built it?
Engineer,
Engineer.
their engineer.
Oh, I can ask him to get his engineer to
Because that's
stamp.
that's the
Okay.
Blue Book protocol now.
Okay.
Who built it for you?
The dock or the float, I meant the floating dock or the bulkhead?
Okay.
The bulkhead is Fernandez Marine and Docks. And the bulkhead is, Chris, I can't think of his last name, but he builds all the docks, the floating docks in
I
there.
think-
And he does bulkheads also.
There needs to be a discussion about checking these things as they're going in, because they're major structures that are getting put in. It's too much of this going on with as-built on major structures.
Do you have a community organization that has an annual meeting or
So we do, the
newsletter?
community organization was giving everybody pressure to get, when I just bought the house, it was right during COVID hit. And they were giving everybody pressure to get these bulkheads fixed, because when I bought it, it was all collapsing and everything was washing up. So the community put pressure on everyone to get them done ASAP, which come to be in the long run, no one was doing it anyway. So I just moved in a community, I've never been in a water community before, so I'm like, oh, I gotta get this thing done. Obviously, no one was doing permits or anything at the time. So everybody that was getting them done, all of these companies was like, oh, we can put it in for you, no problem, we'll just do it. And that's the problem.
We'll
They're
stop
going
you.
around telling everybody,
Let-
saying, oh, just let's
let
get
me-
it
Let me
done.
stop you right there.
We did the permits, the whole
We,
thing.
we ran like a clock through COVID, processing permits. You didn't miss a beat over here.
I'm not disagreeing with
Yeah.
you, I'm just saying, they
So-
put pressure on you, and then
Well,
everybody's
I-
like panicking,
I-
you can't do anything.
Yeah,
So-
that's
So that's
some
neglect
false
on my
pressure.
part.
Right, I understand the community's concern because you have canals there, which, you know, very important to everybody that lives there.
They were
Makes
just
part of
dredged
property.
too, that was the thing.
Right, they were dredged, and the thing is that if you have, you know, a weak link in the chain, that ruins the navigation for everybody.
Correct.
So but, you know, and I can understand them urging people to maintain their bulkheads so that, you know, the whole integrity of the community stays.
I wish everyone else would be doing it.
Well, I get that, but you
Yes.
still gotta get permits, you
Right.
know what I mean?
And I did it as work done, I understand that, so I just
Right.
need to know what I need to do to get this correct.
Right, but, you know, it's a problem, and we move pretty quick compared to other regulatory authorities.
Right.
And, you know, it's like, we're just trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, and I'm trying to backtrack and get everything done the correct way. I thought this is what I needed, but it needs to be
Yeah,
by an
it's-
engineer.
Yeah,
This is the guy that sent it to me that did the floating dock.
well, you know, if you think about this, okay, and
And I'm
I
sure he
think.
has an engineer.
Yeah.
Well, I think
So-
trustee Warner can back up the statement. You know, sometimes when people are doing things fast, they cut corners at times,
Yeah.
and
Right.
things collapse at the worst possible time,
Yeah, during Hurricane Sandy.
right?
That's
So
what-
now you have something that's supposed to be maintaining integrity to protect your property, and because it wasn't engineered properly with the right
Sure.
specs or material, now you're really relying on it, and it's not there for you. It's happened.
It's failed, yeah.
It fails. So,
Yep.
you know, so we want people, we want to protect people,
I
we
have
want
a
to
question
protect
for you.
property.
The person that put the bulkhead in, they're not answering the phone calls or anything. How do I go about getting an engineer to?
Well,
I have pictures of everything. I took it at the whole process.
You're gonna have to discuss that with the engineer.
So I have to
Discuss.
find an engineer.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Okay,
on
that's
you.
all.
Yep,
You know,
Now
now
I
you
gotta
have,
hammer the phone and find somebody to do it.
right,
Yes.
so now you have someone that's not advising to get permits, that's putting things, and now they don't even answer their phone, so now
Right.
you understand what I'm saying.
Right, no, I agree.
No, no.
So it all goes full
And he
circle.
came with all the bells and whistles. I do this, I've done this one and this one over here, so it sounded
Right.
legit.
Right,
Now he
no.
doesn't answer his phone.
Yeah, we're just trying to protect the environment and protect the public.
The guy that did the floating dock is a different person, and he's legit. He'll answer the phone. So
All right.
I have no issues with getting
Right.
that.
Probably the
So-
avenue you should pursue.
Right, so you could speak to James or Charlotte, advise you what we need to do to clean this up, to get it to where it's, you know, you're all tight. So you're almost there. Appreciate you coming in, good conversation.
Next question is I have is they asked me to send in what I was going to use for the buffer, and I said the gravel. Is there any particular gravel that needs to be put in?
You know, they're really, we don't, you know, go with like any particular kind. I mean, we do
Right.
look for, if possible, which may be beneficial to you, as a mixture, like the other one did have some native vegetation there as well.
No.
If you do get an overtopping situation, the deep roots of the native vegetation help hold
everything.
that together, absorbing nutrients that
Okay.
could come from sheet
And there's a
runoff
list
from the
for that.
upland.
I think there's a list.
There
of
there
what
is,
the
there is a
materials-
list of what
Yeah.
would work, and so
Yep.
while you're still a work in progress, you may want to take a look at that and see, you know, really what the mixture could be for
Right,
what
I
you
was just
need.
thinking for aesthetics, like just so there's certain
Well-
types of gravels that look better than others.
Yeah,
Well-
I mean, there are, bluestone, there are regular pea
Pea
gravel.
gravel,
Right.
yeah.
And you probably want to go a bit larger than a pea gravel, because if you get a storm with wave action, it'll like blow the gravel around.
Oh, I'd rather the bigger stuff.
Yeah, so,
Agree with you there.
And probably
last
mix some
question.
vegetation in there if you're talking aesthetics. So they do look good when you design them with some vegetation in there and the stones. You kind
Yeah.
of get a better project, better integrity for your property, better nutrient absorption off of the upland, and
And the buffer is 10 foot from waterside?
from the bulkhead landward.
Land,
That's
okay.
already on the plans.
It's on the plans, it just doesn't specify what you're putting there. So
Yeah.
if you could
Oh, I
specify-
sent that in. They asked me to send that in before I came to this meeting. And I
Okay.
said the gravel. But that's fine, gravel and grass mix. Okay.
all right, so we're not ready to move forward with this either.
Okay.
We need this engineer, so we're gonna put this
So
on
speak-
hold.
Just speak to them about avenues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that we could, you think you can remedy this by the 6th of September?
I think so, yeah.
It's
I'm good about
important.
getting on the phone.
All right, so let's move this over to the 9/6 work
Yeah,
session. That
and-
way, you got a head of steam going here. let's clean this
Yeah,
thing up and get it
I
done.
agree.
And if you don't accomplish getting everything done, just,
Call,
email
let
or
us know.
call the office and we'll
Okay, I need more
postpone
time.
it to the
Right.
next one.
Yeah,
Okay?
Because while you're boiling it down, stay on it and let's get this thing
I
done.
want to get this done.
What about looking at the bigger picture, though, with the community and the
That's a-
misinformation that's being,
That's another
Let's,
time.
we'll have to deal with that.
That's,
We'll deal with that.
Yeah, it's going on a
Yeah.
lot in there.
you're president of your community association?
No,
Is-
he's not.
No, no,
Oh, no,
you're
no, I'm not.
the president of the community association.
What,
It would be someone we could contact, right, about this?
I can get that information.
Yeah, I could get that. Yeah, we'll deal with that separately. from
Okay.
this.
My wife has all those numbers, I don't have those.
Yeah, no.
Okay, no, no, that's fine.
No, we
Doesn't have
could
to
deal
be
with that.
today, but we just
Yeah, we'll
need to
deal with
take a
that
look at
separately.
Okay,
this.
excellent, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all I have at this.
45 Cedar Crest, North Sea, Warwick. Come on up.
Yes.
Stop Warwick.
okay?
Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good morning.
Good. Morning.
Okay.
This is a proposed 226-foot length dock, 120 feet by 5 over the water.
Yes, do you want me to give you an overview of the project?
James, can you give us an update on this?
Yeah, he submitted a whole bunch of paperwork for the proposed walkway over Davis Creek. Description's right there. And you submitted new plans, correct?
Yes.
How do the new plans look?
We'll pull them right now so you guys can look at them.
Okay.
He is proposing also a dock structure next to that walkway as well.
So just before we keep going, I'm a little confused. So the property owner here at 45 Cedar Crest
Yes,
is,
me. And my family owns the property.
okay. And you're proposing to put 2 structures on it? Are there 2 structures there now?
Yes,
There
they're
are.
deteriorated, they're there. They've been
Okay.
there- we've had the property for 55 years or so, and there's always been a dock and a bridge. And now they're deteriorated.
So you're taking the old bridge out and building a new bridge?
Yeah, taking the old bridge down to I've been working with, do you want me to give you a little background?
Sure.
I've been working with New York State on this back and forth too, and they like the idea of the latest plan because what we're doing is we're raising the bridge, which is good for boat traffic.
Yes.
To go underneath it, because it's a little low at high tide. It also benefits the agriculture, the weeds, by having a higher height, the light can get in there.
Yep.
Plus, we're removing the old planks and putting the flow-through grading,
Yep.
which lets lights go through. Plus, we're removing the old cement walkway, which also lets the growth to go, the vegetation to come back. And also by extending the bridge, because we have to have the 1 to 12-foot proper slope,
Yeah.
it extends the ramps away from the weed area.
The wetlands, yeah.
The wetland area, which also improves that. And also, the one ramp now is level, because of an embankment that goes down, it intersects the embankment by the extension. So now you're also benefiting, even past the wetlands. And also easier access for people to come and go, instead of going down, up and down 2 ramps, or going down just one ramp.
One ramp.
Yeah, so that's the plan, the latest go-around with New York State and the Army Corps. I've also submitted this to the DEC. So we're moving forward. So what I was hoping to do is if we get I have Landrow Engineering right here in town here.
Landrow.
They're did the preliminary plans, and I'm hoping to get everybody on the same general agreement.
Right.
And then have them produce these stamped,
Stamped plans.
sealed.
Yeah, they always a lot of money.
Yeah.
Right, that's smart, 'cause obviously.
I do have one question, because I'm kind of familiar with the area, and there is a bridge in there, and there's also a bridge with a dock that's attached to it. Did you contemplate maybe attaching off the bridge your float and ramp instead of building another whole entire structure?
We did, and when working with the Army Corps, they went with the separate structure.
Okay.
you know.
I'm just giving you, I thought it would be easier to,
The floating dock doesn't have enough water where it's located.
Yeah. that's it.
Also, the proposed jet ski floats need to be on a separate application after this, if you do approve the floating
separate
dock,
structure.
then they would come in for a separate.
You might wanna make the float dock a fixed dock, essentially, because you don't have enough, you need at least 30 inches of water.
30 inches of water,
low tide.
okay,
So you better
So
off
ju-
get rid of the floating dock and just put a fixed dock.
okay.
Right, and then separate
Cheaper for
application.
you.
No, it is a fixed dock, it's floating jet ski.
That's a
Oh,
separate
just
Just
application.
take
We
that,
don't wanna
take
take that.
take that out, okay.
That's a separate application,
Okay.
because that's like renews every.
It's a
it's a
3-year.
fixed
3
dock
year.
with the jet ski
But you
floats
need
attached.
you need a active permit for the dock that you're.
Right.
you're
Attaching
hooking
the
jet
Right,
ski
well, okay,
floats
so that'll be, that's good, so we'll remove that.
Right, so that's,
Yeah,
right, it's a
So-
paperwork issue, that's all.
so just show a platform, then you can tie the jet ski floats to the platform. You have an overhead shot of this, please.
Is that the only purpose of that separate dock, is to attach jet skis to it, or do you attach a boat to it?
Lately, it's only been jet skis, and,
You can do that off the
Bridge. That's what I was saying, you could,
well, the trick is, that we've been there for over 55 years, we've always had a dock, it's kind of sentimental
Okay.
thing, and also we have kayaks, we launch
yeah, I'm
there,
asking you
and-
what you use it for, so,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
we do all kinds of things.
You don't wanna be dragging a kayak up the bridge.
You're only
No.
allowed 2 vessels, so if you have 2 jet skis, that's all you're allowed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
that's all we have.
Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
Yeah, that's all I have right now, I only use one, really.
Now,
Yeah.
there's a right of way on this property, correct, or on the other
That is
property?
correct.
So maybe if Mark can take a look at the right of way language, make sure that it's
He's got, you
something
have to,
that's.
So there's a right-of-way over your
There's a
property, or?
Yeah, there's a property in back, one property, that's
so
a
you-
right-of-way that just simply says that it goes down the side of the property,
what
10
side?
feet on the east side,
So they can use the bridge?
so they can use the bridge, and they have a right-of-way across to the beach.
Okay,
It's just a 10-foot walkway.
it's a walkway,
Yeah.
it's a walking right away.
Yeah, that's correct,
But we probably,
Access to the bay.
yes.
we should probably have
Yeah, we should look at
Mark
that.
take a look
Yeah.
at this for sure.
Mark, you wanna look at that?
There have been issues in
Absolutely.
this
Yeah.
area in the past, so we wanna,
We'll just dot the i's and cross the t's.
I submitted all the deeds to you.
You have that already?
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
That's what I mean,
Yeah.
we've already got this
We'll
work.
let, we'll let our attorney review them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let
I
him
think we
look at it.
talked about that before.
I do recall.
And what's the height of the bridge that's being raised, right?
It's, right now, it's 7 feet, .6 inches, which is the same height as the bank it's coming off of. So you have a level walkway.
And how much is that coming up?
It's 4 foot 8 inches right now, so it would be coming up,
2.5 feet
yeah,
almost.
a little 2.5 feet.
Otherwise, you can't navigate a boat in and out of
That's
there at
right.
that time.
You
Exactly.
It's a better plan.
You
It's a better
can't
plan,
get a
but we
boat
win in a
under
lot of
most of them
fronts.
Better
anyway.
plan.
Better,
No,
better
you
for
can.
the ecoculture, better for
Yeah,
the.
some pressure off the,
There's one bridge at high tide, you
Yeah, it's
can't
better
get a boat
plan.
underneath.
Yeah, and then you eliminate rotten wood, you have the ramps coming down.
light penetrating decking is a good move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good move.
But raising it
That's-
with
yeah, it's a better plan.
allow the environment to grow
It's,
around it.
it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
Well, you got a lot of
Wanna look at
regulatory
this?
authorities that you have to satisfy.
I know, I've been talking to, New York State and the Army and the DEC and you, and so we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there. So, what do we, sorry.
Well, obviously, we can't really get to the permit process because we need those engineered plans, just like
Well,
everybody
and the
else.
changes.
Right,
too, because of
exactly.
not
So we,
enough water and-
you need to continue this evolution here,
At this point, though, I think I'm close enough to get engineering plans?
Yeah,
I mean, from
that's
my
a- That's
perspective-
a fix it
I
up
would
with
submit
jet
the
ski
new cover
floats.
sheet
The jet
without
ski
new
floats don't
plans
need as
without
much
the jet
water
skis.
as a
Jet
reservoir.
ski
Right.
floats.
They might need 18
Oh,
inches of
it's
water.
In the work session?
Well, I
You can
mean,
hand it
No,
to James,
so you
or
submit them.
Charlotte.
Just submit them to
Yeah,
you.
and then when,
Once we receive those,
This,
we can put it on from the next.
Correct.
You know, the
Okay.
next work session.
Yeah,
Okay.
so just go over it, because you might, by then, you might hear from the state.
We also
Okay.
need.
So I'll resubmit the new plans to everybody
Yeah.
and just see where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
just get it to James, you know, because in,
I would hold off on any stamp plans until you hear back from the
From
state
them.
and the Army Corps.
Exactly.
Because if they make changes and you have stamp plans, you're gonna have to make
Exactly, that's what I'm trying
Right,
to
so-
say.
changes.
but
Yeah.
it looks to me like you're
Really
really,
close with
you're
us.
very, yeah, so as long as it's good with everybody else, I don't see anything that's,
Where do we stand with the advisory letter? Have we requested one?
how far
Because
landward are we going?
80 feet with the,
Is
as
there,
far as I
is
can see.
existing, this thing existing, they're getting rid of the concrete, right?
Getting rid of the concrete, ripping the concrete up, again, that was another, you know, big benefit to the ecosystem of the wetlands.
Right, so that's
This
concrete,
is actually an older permit. This is actually, you've been working on this for quite a bit, so we didn't do advisory letters, but we can request one.
yeah.
What was it, I don't
We
know.
know what it is, because we're treading into another jurisdiction.
Town Conservation
And
Board
we
has.
want to have
Handle
holistic,
that.
we want to make
Oh,
this,
sure.
you're dealing with enough regulatory authorities. So what happens is,
We do that one. for
we
you.
do that so that if there are concerns that in the upland relative to this, we can address that also.
Oh, so you send it to them?
We'll get an advisory and make sure that we're checking the boxes with what their concerns would be.
Okay.
And you've made some excellent points, so just to, you know, for the benefit of everybody, we'll request an advisory letter, and then we'll just make sure that, you know,
It saves time later.
but you're, like you said, it'll save you more time, because you're already working with enough regulatory authorities. To throw one more in the mix or something that's attached to a structure with permitting is like,
Yeah, but that's our end of it. so-
that's our end. We'll handle it on our end, it'll
Yeah,
benefit
you don't need to do anything.
Well, I'm gonna get the new plans to
Yeah, yeah,
James
you
No.
still have
and
your-
everyone else.
As
and
far
You
as
then-
the
stay your
advisory,
course,
yeah,
we're gonna
yeah,
stay our course,
yeah.
you stay yours, and it'll work out.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right,
Thank you, thanks for coming.
have a great one. All right.
Okay, 180 Point Mecox Lane, Bridgehampton, and consultants. Hi, Susanna.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Susanna.
How are you?
Good. So, the last meeting you had requested, I guess, depth measurements for the dock. And it's, you know, this is an existing dock that's being replaced, which was a condition of the Conservation Board approval when they got approval to redevelop the site with a new house and pool and everything. They had to replace the existing dock with non-treated wood and open grade decking. So we provided a copy of the old permit from 1981 and had depth measurements done at relative to Mid-Bay. Of course, this is a tributary of Mecox, so it's you know, you don't have a normal high tide and low tide, so we go by Mid-Bay. So at Mid-Bay, underneath the float, on the landward end, we've got 21 inches, and on the seaward end, we've got about 23 inches of water. The float is chalked.
It's on Swan here. Yeah.
So it would be chalked so that at low bay, it would not be sitting on the bottom.
Right. James, what were you gonna say? Sorry, I grabbed the wrong
Area.
application by mistake.
Buildings and area.
Please.
Right, that would be the old dock built in 1981.
This guy.
And we would be replacing it in basically the same location, well, definitely the same location, configuration, and dimensions, just with updated materials.
Good?
Yeah.
Good,
Yep.
flow through and.
Yeah.
Cleaning
Dated
it
materials.
up. There's a flourishing wetlands around
Yeah.
here, it looks
Might
like,
wanna roll
too.
that out.
What's that?
Has a flourishing wetland.
Yes, and they've done a whole bunch of revegetation as part of the Conservation Board permit. It'll be native vegetation on the entire property,
Oh, very nice.
which is,
Maybe they
they
could put
just,
an osprey pool, there's a lot of ospreys down there.
I'll suggest it.
And a ladder on the float.
A ladder on the float?
Yeah, or it's somewhere if they go in the water and get back up,
Okay, we can add that.
yeah, not safe.
All right,
It makes it more user-friendly.
okay. So we'll add
It's
a
not
ladder.
very deep there, but
It is not, but the bottom, as I learned, is mucky.
much,
Very,
that's right.
yeah.
You want something to be able to pull yourself out
Sure.
if you get
Yeah.
stuck.
Maybe some shoes, you know.
Yeah.
So you add the ladder, we also need the plan stamps.
Yes, so we'll add the ladder and then get the plan stamped and get that back to you as soon as we can.
Okay.
I mean, you should be able to get that before the, can advance, right?
Right, right.
Pending the plans.
Yeah,
Pending the, yeah, if you could advance it,
Yeah.
pending the plans, I
Yeah.
should be able to get those very quickly.
right, that's, should be pretty simple.
Okay,
It'll
good.
be
Get it
under
down,
the-
spray this.
I'm sorry?
It'll be under the general fund applications for determination, final plan center, so this for the next one.
When is the next one?
September
September
6th,
6th.
it's the Wednesday after
Okay.
Labor
Great.
Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sam?
Okay.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday because
Yeah,
of Labor Day.
Labor
It's
Day,
that,
exactly.
it's that week. 606 Montauk Highway, First Coastal.
Billy Mack.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
Billy Mack, First Coastal.
This is a reconstruct in place. 210 feet of existing bulkhead, increasing top elevation by 6 inches. No treated wood, 10-foot buffer planted with beach
Oh,
grass.
this has been discussed a couple of times.
Yeah.
Right, yep, we had a few
Boy,
things we
isn't
had
that
to.
a nice lawn?
I can't believe that bulkhead's still standing.
Really?
It's ancient.
Looks like from the 50s. Is it creosote?
It's crazy.
That's, stuff would burn.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the property that is right at the narrow section of,
Just over the bridge.
yeah, just over the bridge.
Yeah, if you look one
Right
way, you
across from
look
the
out
water- Almost
to.
right across from the watermill.
Yeah, on the
Yep,
diagonal.
Catty-corner from the,
Yep.
Yep.
the
Wow.
Yes.
yeah. Pictures
Wow.
say a lot. Yeah, this is, the concern is that this will fail in a storm. There's very little energy in this shoreline here, but it does make sense to bring it to modern materials and include the buffer, obviously.
Right.
Definitely, if you get a hard day in there and it floods, the
Yeah.
hydrostatic pressure will just slowly push it over.
What's the cover sheet? What are we doing?
6-inch increase replacing,
Uh,
200 and,
That sounds
10
good.
feet.
Yeah,
10-foot wide buffer,
Yep.
beach grass, native
Yeah.
red fescue.
yep.
Yeah.
In the past with the red fescue, you guys had put in like a no-mow.
Oh.
Yeah, this,
If we could, if we could put that in there.
no mowing, no
Absolutely.
fertilize.
yeah, that's.
And no
you know, Part of the
irrigation.
blue
Yeah.
book anyway, right? Yeah. No
Yep.
fertilize, no mow.
You can just add that to the description for the red fescue.
Okay, sure.
I think you're good to go on that.
All right.
I think with that, you hand cut it or something at the end.
Once a season or something?
Once a season, yeah. Because fescue, you can cut pretty low and cut it pretty low, so you
Yeah.
don't want that.
You know, in there, it's a pretty good option because it's mostly, it's very brackish or fresh back there as you're going now.
Mhm.
So, great.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
All right, does Billy have anything
Well,
else?
you'll hang out anyway.
Yeah, I'm
He's
not
gonna
gonna-
hang out anyway, so I don't wanna tie up Vicky's signing. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I know you end up hanging the whole meeting anyway, right?
You just need stamp
You-
plans for that, too.
Yeah, what's that?
The stamp plans for that.
Stamp plans, of course.
Of course.
Okay, so next is 1080 Flying Point Road, which is InterScience. Right. So this is a 4-foot wide by 170-foot linear foot elevated catwalk with light penetrable decking, untreated wood posts. Helical piles support each post. The pedestrian access to Mecox Bay was approved by Southampton Town Conservation Board. This is, I believe this is an as-built.
Yeah, it's built already.
This is an as-built, so an NOV was issued for this, and the agent has come in with the materials.
So it's all
that
compliant
are-
now, right?
I believe so. We have to take a close look at it, though.
Yeah, it's
That-
light penetrating deck.
Yeah,
The material, the way it's built is fine.
helical is the way to go.
Stamped plans are stamped,
Yeah, why isn't it like 4 feet in the air like all the other ones they recommend though?
because it didn't have a permit.
Yeah, but the Army Corps would recommend it needs to be, I think, 54 inches.
It didn't have an Army Corps permit, probably.
Oh, so,
So, the
All-
trouble with that, Ed's gonna say is that I don't wanna go 54 inches, so I'll build it without a permit and come in as, pay the as-bill. And so, what are we gonna do? Turn the, look at it a different way? It's
Well,
not fair to the other people, right, Billy Mack?
we've been fighting for this for such a long time, and every time we try to lower it, they say no.
Yeah,
But
I
they
like
still-
it, I like it
and-
lower.
but they have to go get everybody else's permit. and
Right.
They will then direct them, so
Maybe we should just put on
they,
hold.
they will,
Ed, does it show on the plans, the elevation that this is?
I don't have.
Can you guys see
wow.
it?
Scott, if we put it on hold, that way, when they get here back now, that they can, we
Right.
can just adjust it.
does it meet our Blue Book now?
Not height-wise.
It
No,
does
no.
not meet our Blue Book now.
Not, I don't think
Okay,
so.
Well, this is what we traditionally would have asked for back in the
Yes.
day.
Right.
But because of back and forth with the Army Corps and the letter that we sent, we went to the basic
This-
54
this
inches.
doesn't
Yeah.
show it.
What's in it?
So
I like
if
this
you go
better
to,
myself.
Right, so
but
what's in our Blue Book right now?
it won't pass.
so can you go to the cross-section of the plans and show the elevation, the height? So go to the right, Charlotte. I think that's where the cross-section is, there. What elevation does that show? Does it?
Oh,
Doesn't, does it?
It's like 2 feet or minimum, but this
Yeah,
is,
But it doesn't show elevation.
What are they asking for, elevation wise?
45 inches, I think.
What's our Blue Book say?
I'll have to check.
I mean, we didn't create this monster.
Correct,
You
so
know,
it'll have
yeah.
to be dealt with the people that created the monster.
No, I mean, because, I mean, we fought hard to get this lowered,
Yeah.
and they said no. They gave us a whole
But
bunch
they
of
were- they were
reasons that
using-
were
but
not.
they were using,
This is over land, it's high.
studies from other parts of the,
Areas of the
Country.
country.
correct, not
Yeah.
local. We had this like, Greg, we've been
Yeah.
running around with this thing,
From Puerto Rico and from,
right? We've been all over the place with this.
Florida.
So the question is, what they're proposing,
This
What?
is,
I mean,
what they're proposing is 45?
Okay.
and our Blue Book
it's
says,
not 45, Scott.
it's not 45?
inches?
No, but I mean, they're
Yeah.
gonna, I'm looking at the plans.
Build and then
it's
try to get the permit after the fact.
It's 4.5 feet is 54 inches, yeah.
Oh, sorry, so I
Yeah.
mixed up the numbers.
Pay the
Um,
fine
That's
and-
close.
Yeah,
Well, why
Without
don't we
looking
wait
at it.
until the consultant comes in and we can have this discussion with them?
yeah, I would put on hold.
That's fine with me.
Is that
Yeah.
your application?
What's that?
I believe the consultant furnished us with the information.
What?
Yeah, this is, yeah, I think,
We still have some work to
Eddie,
do.
it's out of spec?
yes, well, what we would have approved 15 years ago with the light penetrating decking and.
Would have been perfect.
It would have been
Catwalk
perfect.
stairs, no, catwalk stairs and elevator walkways shall be built 3 feet above the existing grade, shall be constructed using 60% light penetrating decking, unless otherwise stipulated by the majority of the trustees on a case-by-case basis.
So we don't know the height of this?
So you put that in so that you can, if the Army Corps wasn't approving anything lower than 4.5, you were able to
Okay,
agree to it if needed. Otherwise, it would be 3 feet.
Right.
So, okay, so
is it 3 feet
is the
now?
proposed that they're asking for 3 feet? That's the question, right?
We need to go down there with, send the Baycon, oh, we can send it.
Well, I mean, that's gonna be another discussion.
Whose area is it? We can give them a tape measure and have them go down there and do it.
Well,
We can discuss this.
Yeah, this is
But-
something we should
well, what,
hold,
Yeah.
and,
what's the dimensions on this plan here that you have a cross-section of? What's it showing? What's that? I can't read that. There you go. Showing,
elevation, 5 feet.
Looks like 2.5 from the water.
2.2.
Scale's 1 to 25, if we have a.
2.2 from the.
Grade.
ground, looks like,
Over the
to the
land,
top of the decking.
2.2,
That's what it looks like, yeah.
right.
so it's not the Blue Book spec even in that plan?
Mm-mm.
It's not very deep.
No, because it's as built, so.
Oh, here it is, 2.2, right there. It's not to any specifications that we would approve.
They backed into it.
Here and there.
So we have to have a little conversation.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So we'll hold this. Please.
Now, this is from the Conservation Board, this is a letter from Marty's office?
Looks like a
That
permit.
is the permit.
That's the permit? Does he have any specifications
For-
on the height? On, being that it's
Right. what is-
upland?
This is the house, the septic.
There should be an advisory letter at very least for the dock, right?
Mhm.
Well, we don't need an advisory letter if they have a permit from the conservation.
Right.
Board.
But we need to see the permit
Right.
specifications from the
So that would
Conservation
bring
Board.
up if you go-
Yeah, let's take a look and see,
I,
maybe.
I don't, I
go back to the-
haven't seen it.
As far as I can see, there's no height. It's this sentence
Sorry,
right
go back to
here.
Permits and documents and minimize the.
Yeah, can I see that after you?
minimize the-
please?
Yeah.
And then go to the conservation board permit.
They didn't give a permit for the dog.
I don't know. There it is. Here.
Here you go, Bill. I marked it on the edges. They don't give a specification,
There's-
specific
No specification for
height.
height. So we need to go circle back around.
They figured that they don't need this permit, not one from us.
Yeah,
Yes.
Till we get,
Yeah, till
an
we
answer.
figure this out. It says they have DEC.
but the
because there
DEC,
was-
the DEC and us were on the same page as far as dock heights.
It's Army Corps.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll hold and discuss.
All right, so that one apparently is not ready to go,
Nope.
unfortunately.
Questions?
All right. So trustee Parish,
Yes, Tom Conti, 79 Montauk Highway, West Hampton.
Here, Ann, here's the rest of your paperwork.
Morning.
Good morning.
Matt,
How's it going?
Good.
how are you doing?
Do you want me to run you through it?
Sure.
Please.
Okay, so, the owner, they received an approval from you guys in 2021, I think it was February, for a 4x82 foot catwalk, 3x10 aluminum ramp, and a 6x20 floating dock. We were going back and forth with the DEC. The DEC was convinced that the floating dock wasn't fully in the 2.5 foot of water that we need. So there was back and forth, back and forth. Finally, the owner just gave up. He just said, we'll go with what the DEC wants, which is what's before you today. We're gonna eliminate the aluminum ramp, eliminate the 6x20 floating dock, and instead just put on a fixed platform, a 4x10 with a safety ladder. That's it.
That's what we recommended initially, so.
Is that what it was, really?
No, that's what we would.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's really it. Other than that, everything else stayed the same. Through flow, light penetrating, decking, pretty much identical.
Okay. It's okay.
Good to go?
Good.
It
Okay.
went 3.5 over the ground.
What's that?
It went 3.5 over the ground. Very good.
What's that?
Very good.
Oh, you like that? Okay.
And it's a step down, right, on the.
The platform?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just to make it a little bit easier.
Yep.
Ladder.
It has a ladder.
Yeah.
Bill, man, come on.
Need the monkey bottom up there too.
No, I'll get you, yeah. What's that?
The monkey bottom up
Yes.
there too.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, I'll bring you that stuff.
Okay. Got the engineer, stamp engineer plans?
Okay.
That's it. Round and round we go.
Thank you.
Good seeing you guys.
Take
Round and
care.
round we go.
Thank you.
Yep.
First Coastal's back up.
Go back to sleep.
I'm Perry, LLC, 12 Bob White Lane, First Coast.
Thank you, Billy Mack, back. First Coastal. This is, Bob White. Oh, okay, yes, this is, so, we talked about this last time. This is the guy that has the walkway around the bulkhead that wasn't included in the original bulkhead reconstruction permit. He's got the synthetic lawn that goes right up, right up to the edge of it. He agreed to a 2-foot wide, fescue, no mow. And I think that's a good idea, cut it once a year type thing, just to keep it,
Did you say 2?
2 foot. Yeah, is what we talked about the last time we were here. Oh, you were not here. Okay, that's what was discussed then. The rest of it's compliant because it's synthetic lawn, so it would,
It would
you know,
create a
it's a-
buffer between the
Yeah,
synthetic lawn and the.
So he's not
buffer.
fertilizing it.
yeah, it's
and
already.
he's not
no
mowing it.
mow. The entire property does not get fertilized, it's all synthetic lawn.
It's just trying to stop sheet runoff coming
Yeah.
off of this thing.
And creating, this is, you know, a nice little natural buffer.
And is there vegetation on the canal side of the property?
That's
what-
also got a deck.
Right, and then is there vegetation behind it, like
There's,
low,
just those trees that you see there.
right,
Yes,
Real trees.
so that's
But the-
behind,
that's behind the
the
bulkhead.
walkway.
And well behind the walkway, yes.
okay.
Yeah, so it's funny, because when you look at this in the middle of the winter on an aerial view, it's the only green lawn around. But it works, and we haven't noticed any sheet runoff, but I like the idea of this 2-foot buffer. The property owner actually thought it was an okay idea too. So he was willing to
So
add
it's
that.
everything that we had asked for at the last work session.
Yeah.
We just need some condition that if you remove the fake lawn, you'll put a buffer.
Yeah.
So is that like
Could add that.
astroturf?
Yes.
Football
Exactly,
field?
yeah. It's got a gravel base, and then it's all synthetic.
So it's permeable.
It's very permeable.
Right, that's why you're not getting a tremendous amount of sheet runoff, but
Yeah.
try and,
Yeah, he likes it because he's got dogs, he doesn't want any fertilizer, he wants a very natural, but this is easy for dogs, because you just hose it off or something. But,
All right.
you don't want the dog stuff going into the waterway, so.
No, that's what I was gonna
like,
say.
so that's why you like this little
Right, so
2-foot
you-
section.
So you get the 2-foot section to really try and absorb any of that. If that holds off, it's a kind of a balancing act going on here.
Yeah, I think
Do you
it
want a
works.
condition on the permit, or do you want him to put in the description that if the synthetic lawn is removed, that the 10-foot buffer would be planted.
Mark, what do you
Or
think?
the 6-foot buffer, whatever it is.
I think that should.
8-foot buffer.
You could, but eventually,
Well,
the-
4 foot.
I thought it was 2 feet
There's-
wide.
Well, there's a deck.
Well, this will be
This
2,
wood
but
walkway.
if he takes away the
There's
synthetic,
Oh, so any of the area that's
within the 10 foot.
within the 10 foot
yeah.
would
Should
be
be.
compliant, yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
a deck with 4 feet, and then there's a deck with 6 feet, and then there's 2 foot of buffer on
Along.
the 4-foot side,
Right.
Yep.
and then it's synthetic from 6 feet on, so.
I think
Okay.
yes, James.
Condition.
Yep.
So add that to the
Add that to the
description of
description as
the,
well
Yeah.
as the fescue mowing.
Okay.
Yep, no mo.
You with that, Mark?
one season mow on the fescue.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
it's fine.
After.
yeah. And then, if synthetic lawn is removed, we'll add a 10-foot buffer, or, okay, native buffer. 10-foot,
Please.
Sure. Okay.
Do we have stamp plans?
No?
No, they'll, so we'll provide those as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, the next one.
Is there another one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 400 Dune Road.
Dune Road.
Yes, this we met at, and,
James and I met with,
property owner, the neighbor, and me.
So this is 400 Dune Road, West Hampton
Mhm.
Beach.
And as opposed to the 18-inch increase, we agreed to a 10-inch. And the neighbor agreed to that, even though he said, when whoever it is that replaces his bulkhead would likely go more than 10 inches, so he was fine with it.
And also the 5-foot wide buffer with beach grass.
Yes, yeah, 5-foot wide buffer of beach grass and the,
Because currently everything's stone.
yeah.
Could we just see an aerial of that, Charlotte, just so that everyone's aware of what this shoreline looks like?
yeah, it's all stone now.
Right. So we'd be adding that natural buffer.
So, and just draw it back a little bit, please, Charlotte. So even a little bit more, just so that we can see that the entire pond point.
Pond Point, between Pond
is
Point and Picket
all-
Point.
Is all bulkheaded
Yeah, that's all.
on the bay side, and
All the
Bill-
way around the whole.
Billy, is it all the way on the,
Pretty
on the
much, there's one
pond
property that
side?
doesn't have bulkheading on the inside of the
Right.
pond.
And then the whole point to the east
Yeah, that's all
is all
bulkheaded up to
natural?
the-
Oh, no, sorry. Over to the east of the subject property, the long, almost peninsula.
Yeah, most of those are bulkheaded, oddly, to the east. I think there's one that has a very low bulkhead.
And there's a sand beach in front of most of them.
Yeah,
We up in
I
front
mean,
of.
that's an accreting beach. You know.
And then to the west of number 400, there is a rock
Rock revetment.
the whole way along
Yeah.
3 or 4 properties. And then that abuts to the bulkhead that starts with the Pond Point properties. Right?
Exactly.
What do you think, Bill?
It looks good to me. We went and looked at it.
Is there rock in front of that bulkhead at this point,
I don't think so.
along the toe of it?
I don't think so. The rock revetment adjacent on the property
Right,
to the
I
west.
see that. I'm just looking like from this GIS.
Yeah.
Beat, isn't it?
What?
The dock part takes a beat.
There, yeah,
Yeah.
on a north wind.
Absolutely.
Northwest, it's all the way from Remsenburg.
I think I'm good, Bill.
Okay, all right. Obviously, standard plans.
Yeah, standard stuff.
Yep. All right, thank you guys very much. I think that's it.
That's it for you. Have a good one.
Thanks, Billy.
482 Dune Road, Village of West Hampton Beach.
Morning.
Still morning.
It is still more. I did that part right.
You
Okay.
want to tell us about this?
Starting off on the
Yeah,
right
so,
foot.
I believe you guys had a chance to visit the site since our last work session. And, maybe have a better idea of what we're dealing with there. Last we spoke, you were concerned, since we met last, I did receive DEC approval on August 8th, so I have DEC Army, Department of State. Yous were concerned about, because the amount of fill, in order to get a pitch to the bulkhead, we'd literally have to fill all the way up to the house. It'd be hundreds and hundreds of yards of fill and cover existing vegetation. So you were concerned about anything that comes over the wall might collect on the property and not run off to the neighbors. So we had suggested maybe getting a topo. I still have not received that. I can't explain why, but you know, I was thinking maybe if that's one of the concerns, maybe we can put some weep holes through the bulkhead, or maybe some jet filters, which would kind of a check valve that lets the water out, but not the water in.
Yeah.
You know, to try to alleviate some of that, you know, that doesn't dissipate naturally. Besides that, I really have no changes, or unless you guys have some suggestions, which may. I think you could, you were able to see that his issue there, when what's coming over the wall is running out to the side along the neighbor's property, because the
Yeah,
neighbor has a
half
pretty
the-
high
Yeah.
property, you know, so I don't think running off to him is gonna be any kind of issue. But I understand the concern of, you know, holding whatever water may come over the wall in a storm. So, you know, I guess it can only leach down to groundwater at that time, so.
Well, it is
you
all
know,
beach sand there, it's pretty, you know,
Right, but if
pretty
the
porous.
table's, right, if the water table's high, you know, high at the time, it's gonna have nowhere to go, so that's the problem.
Right, but, you know, the house is high enough that if the yard does fill up, it appears based on the terrain around it, it won't run off to the neighbors, it'll fill up
sit
until it
there.
runs back over
Right.
or leaches
We'll
down.
have to deal with that issue.
And that's why I was thinking maybe jet filters would help, you know, because we're gonna be filling, proposed filling along the new bulkhead, and, you know, that new sand can take some water probably pretty good, and jet filters would allow it back out into the,
Put
into the
scuppers,
bay.
like we did at by Cold Spring.
Yeah.
That bulkhead right there, we put scuppers in there.
Yeah, to allow the water after an overtopping, a storm
To
overtopping.
relieve the hydrostatic pressure
Yes.
behind the wall,
Yep.
we do that a lot. The jet filters are nice because they're accessible from the outside, where you can change them if they get clogged. And they
Yeah.
have like a little built-in check valve, so.
That's
we'll let
perfect.
the water
That-
in.
That would probably.
I think it would help that
How does that
situation.
work with sand, if sand gets in?
They work great. They're kind of like they're kind of self-washing. They have a very simple, a rubber diaphragm,
Okay.
you know, so that the water comes on one side, it slams it shut.
Like a scupper, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they're, like, you put them through the bulkhead, usually like, the mean elevation, like at zero, like in between high and low.
Yeah.
So they're always accessible,
don't
low
get caught
tide.
with the
They
sand
just
behind.
unclip, and there's
Yeah.
just a little screen that goes on them.
I gotta think about this for a minute, though. I gotta think about this.
So my question is, the property to the west,
Yes.
what's the status of that?
Is that the one with the tennis court?
No.
That's the
No,
east.
that's east, yeah.
Yeah, that neighbor had filled, I don't know if he had a permit for it or not, but he had filled along the property line and along the front, because he had the same situation, where he was washing out in storms. So they built some kind of berm, and I guess it looks like it grew naturally, it got weeded over and stuff. It doesn't appear to have any, like, native grasses in it.
So that's a fairly healthy wetland in front of the adjacent bulkhead to the west, and to the property also to the west of that, right? That's what I'm seeing here, but, so in front of both of those bulkheads. So when you're raising the subject property bulkhead, I mean, I would assume littoral drift along here is east to west.
That's what it looks like.
So I'm just concerned about these properties that are down drift.
Yeah, but they're gonna get sand put on them. They're not gonna be an eroding shoreline.
There's gonna be end scour, right?
Well, no, the sand will be coming from east and going west.
Right, but it'll be traveling around that bulkhead and into, I mean, if you see the property now, there's a bit of scour, and then it goes out around to the one to the west.
Yeah, but
So-
it's not a straight, so it has, undulations in it, so it would actually act as a natural catch basin for the material that's being transported down.
James, what did you say
So-
if someone went there?
I mean, what's the need for the height increase?
So what's happening is on, any storms or, rough weather, the wave action is over the wall and then erodes, it's eroding behind the bulkhead and coming around the side between that property that we were just speaking about.
Right, but,
So the proposal is to extend the return to stop, any water running around the property
mhm.
and raise it up slightly to, alleviate some of the wave action over the wall.
Right, but there's how much of a distance between the subject property's deck and bulkhead? Extensive, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you look to the west section of this property, it's all Spartina.
Yeah, that's what I'm
paved,
saying.
And it's not having any issues over there when it's over top. And it's lower, because there's more sand on, if you look at the photographs here. See this one, photo 4? You have extensive vegetation behind it that's not really being affected. And as you get towards the eastern section, there is no vegetation, and it's just sand, and it looks like where the water's washing out on, so.
If you pull up the aerial, I think you'll be able to see again. So look to the east on that. So Charlotte, if you just draw it back a little bit. Nope, back, yeah. I don't know, I don't see the need for a height increase here.
How many feet above mean high water is the bulkhead currently?
Well, mean high water falls a few feet in front of the mean low water falls a few, average water, if you will. High water is at the bulkhead and part of the property, and there's some beach in front of the bulkhead on the east side at standard low water.
Low water
And
or
high water, I'm sorry.
So
So it's up against
yeah.
the bulkhead for most of high water, and a little bit to the east, there's a couple of feet of beach that are generally exposed.
You can see the rack line on that bulkhead.
Yeah, on the right, yeah, the lower
Photo
right
two.
too as well, you can see
Looks
where
like,
where it comes
Yeah,
out.
you can, yeah.
But you
2
can,
feet.
but you can also see,
Yeah, I think it was more than 2 feet.
you can also see the beach.
On this
On-
side,
in
yes,
front of
so
it.
the problem area is further down where the high water is at.
So how much
the bulkhead.
elevation are you looking?
Well,
for this?
the DEC approved 18 inches, but
Up
we're
to-
willing to do
That's-
whatever.
Yeah, that's just a broad brush, though.
You're right, of course,
Yeah.
and we, whatever you are comfortable approving would help him in a storm situation. It's just, he's not really sure what to do with the constant loss of,
What the other regulatory authorities say.
up there, they're all approved.
They all,
18 inches on
At
a
18
dry
inches.
bulkhead. That's a lot.
they all went with the same language as the
Yes.
states? They
Did
didn't.
you hand that in?
What's that?
You handed it
You have it there?
I have the DEC, he has the DEC,
to,
but,
you handed it to Jane?
It's up on the
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
Got have it.
That's the state. So let's
Go back.
go back a little bit.
Go up, Charlotte,
Right
right there,
Right about
thank
there.
you.
Can you make it a little bit bigger, please?
Functional bulkhead.
Up to 18 inches higher.
That's on a dry bulkhead, that's,
Yep.
that's a lot.
Yep.
Because you're
Yep.
looking, if it's 3 feet and you're added 18 inches, that becomes a 4-foot high bulkhead.
You need like an elevator, escalator to get up and over.
So like you said in the beginning, he's gonna have to add a lot of sand on the upland area, so you're getting into
Well, he's got, there's
way out
no,
of your 10 feet jurisdiction.
right, he doesn't
Yeah.
have a top, you have no topographicals, right?
No, no. But, you know, the high water mark kind of, you know, gives you an indication of where it is. And, yeah, so the survey here says high water at bulkhead.
But just on the
He's only got
southwest
35
corner,
cubic yards in that
right?
permit.
35 for behind the bulkhead,
bulkhead.
you know, to create the back pitch, and then 40 yards to fill in areas that have eroded.
Is that,
It's a
that's
big-
in that state permit?
Yes, there's a
Go back
big
to that-
area.
Go back to that state.
And that's all behind the bulkhead?
Yes,
Landward of the
yes.
bulkhead.
In fact, that was one of the comments initially. They
Keep
didn't want the
scrolling
bulkhead
till
in
you
front,
find
because
that.
then
I
we
wanna see
would be
what the
filling in
wording is there.
the wetland
Yeah,
area.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that was in place in kind,
Too much.
Yeah.
as far as horizontal location.
Yep.
So, I mean, you know, this, I understand there's probably other solutions
Where was
here.
that?
and,
Where's the 40?
Wait, are you guys listening?
No, it's,
No, no.
I'm
What?
sorry.
Because there's two
No, we're
different
still, we're trying to read
conversations.
we're trying to read your paperwork here from the state to try and make heads or tails out of it.
What are you looking for, Scott?
No, I saw 35, but I didn't see, what'd you say, there's 40 in there?
Yes, there's a total of 75.
Oh, this is, you're looking at cubic yards
Yeah,
behind the bulkhead.
the next page shows that a little.
That's further landward, correct? That's outside of the. 10
Our
feet from
jurisdiction.
bulkhead, Correct?
Yeah, so the fill, the 35 yards is to fill in the, you know, extra head of refill what's already been washed out.
I was trying to
And then
figure out,
there's-
yeah, but what's that?
And off to the left there, area of
35
erosion
yards.
restored with 40 yards of clean material. Because the rest of that is all vegetated nicely already.
Okay, so, all right, wait, that's stamped there, I see that.
Then a lower left note there.
Okay, so 45 is, 40 cubic yards is on the corner of that's the eroded.
Correct, so when the water comes over, it all runs out there and pulls all the sand with it.
Where's it in the
Well,
word?
the thing is, our concern when we're at the site is, right now, your property is pitched to your house already from
Look at this
from
state
that
permit.
bulkhead, and there's an area that's right in front of the deck that's,
I wanna see
it's
the
wet,
conditions of the state permit.
so if you go up even higher and add more fill, it's gonna just continue to do that. if it
So
gets
there's
around that
there's
bulkhead.
already ponding on the property with the
That's what it
incline.
appears so, I mean, there wasn't ponding really there,
Your
but.
pictures, I don't know, you should have the
I
pictures
don't know,
as well.
nobody's comfortable with this 18, or,
For sure. Just done, just done.
Right, Bill, it was definitely elevated already from the river down towards the house.
Yeah, it's shown on the drawing.
what?
Just go to the drawings.
I have a couple copies here.
What does the overhead shot look like? Can you zoom in on it? Pretty good.
Now, did you order this additional survey work done, you're just waiting on it to come back?
I
What's
mentioned,
that?
it was mid though, yeah, and he said, you know, it's like, I need some elevations, you have one shots already. And he said to see what, and I haven't really followed up since then, so it's kind of
That's
on me
an
with the
important
follow-up.
aspect.
Right, so, I think, right, so, maybe you need to follow up with him again, so the board can, make a better determination. He has the information, he just hasn't
I-
gotten it out for you.
I
Bulkhead
don't
to
know.
return, and
I
they put like a
He's
little
busy,
wall back
he's like,
here.
yeah, I'm gonna get to you.
Stops
That's
the
probably
water
what
from
it is,
washing
and
Everybody's
my
so-
bad for not staying on him.
Everybody's so busy, so
Yeah.
that if you're not stay on him, he's like going to the person that's screaming.
So your concerns are several, like, you know, we wanna, if you would consider a bulkhead elevation, it's not necessarily 18, we could come up with something logical, but you're concerned with the general lay of the existing property. right? I mean, if we raise the bulkhead though, I don't think it'll contribute to any further flooding towards his house. You know, his goal is to stop the major storm rush to come over the wall, which does happen. I have videos. It's pretty excessive, and he's kind of in a pocket there where the wind kind of blows it towards him, and it rushes over the wall.
Would those videos be helpful to see?
Sure.
I think those may be helpful to see.
Well, I mean-
How would I email those, I guess, to
Yeah.
James?
Yeah.
I have them on he texted them to me, so I can probably convert to something.
If you could email them to me.
Email to
And
James.
may-
I mean-
Can you put them in Dropbox, or should you, just because
Have them email
sometimes?
first.
Email.
Try with the email first, if it doesn't work.
It looks like the problem is it gets overtopped, the return on the west side is short,
Mhm.
and the material is all taken out by the water and the sand from the wave action.
Exactly.
Washed out, so if you extend that return back 30 more feet, you're gonna capture all of that material that's gonna be lost. And then you can just put some fill in there and revegetate it and not have to raise the bulkhead.
But here's the other thing.
With that, I mean, because you're
I'm
losing.
not in favor of raising it
Well,
that much, but if you put some swells in there, landscape it, vegetate like Ed says, you can save a lot of the problems.
Yeah,
Maybe
because-
some-
well, here's the other thing. Where is it overtopping? Because from what I can see, it's overtopping on the southwest corner predominantly. It doesn't look like it's,
Oh, it's out flanking, it probably comes in with a tidal surge on the southwest corner.
Right.
Floods all that, and then when
So-
the tide falls, the water recedes, and it pulls it all out.
but there's a significant portion on the sort of the northern aspect of it that it doesn't look like, I mean, you can clearly see it's flooding here,
Yeah.
but to the east, it doesn't look like it
Yes, it's
is.
soft.
Right, it's all vegetation, it's all some more.
Yeah.
I mean, if he softens that corner up and puts some like vegetated, some rocks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It could, work, some swell, and don't really raise the bulkhead at all.
So you're suggesting not raise the bulkhead, but extend the bulkhead, or
Do,
No.
do the.
Extend it in that
Extend the
30-foot return.
return, which would put you back into firmer ground,
Ground.
and it would stabilize when it overwashes, not washing
It'll
out.
grab the sand.
And then
Right.
you put the sand beyond the bulkhead and revegetate it.
No, and that's a part of the process, what we're proposing here, but the concern is now extending that bulkhead and not limiting the water that's coming in may worsen the area.
No, because you're
situation.
going to, what you're doing there, it's still gonna overtop, but it's gonna be stabilized by the
Yeah.
vegetation, as it is on the other portion of the property. It's overtopping there, but there's no, as far as I can see from what I'm looking at, there's not washout. Like this is washout because all it is sand, but if you
Right.
vegetate it, those roots will hold it
Yeah, I
down.
mean, this is this is the same height of bulkhead, but it's all vegetated in its established root system.
Yeah, coming
But on the west end, where basically the water washes in and it finds the path of least resistance, it's pulling all that material out, lowering the elevation and taking away the vegetation. That's what I see it as.
Yeah.
Okay, so, in summary,
Sorry.
No, I know, there's a lot of good ideas going around, and
Yeah.
we wanna help him the best we
Right,
can.
well, I think that's, the consensus, it seems to be, is to extend that return, get back into firmer ground, and then utilize the concept of the native vegetation that's gonna secure that in, so that when you do get those storm events, it does come up and absorb the energy, doesn't take that material away.
Right.
It just goes right back out again without doing the harm. Kinda like we do, even little sill bulkheads, where it comes up and over and it just
back.
goes right back out,
Yeah.
and there's no harm and no foul. And you don't create this whole thing,
So put your little weep holes or scuppers in there, multiple ones, to get rid of that water pressure when it does fill up.
In the existing wall, which
Yeah.
I believe is, I'm not sure, it's a wood
Right, so
wall.
that, I think that we need to, you don't have having that information that you request from the surveyor probably would be helpful for everybody. I think the videos would be helpful for
Yeah.
everybody. And I think the exploration of this concept of building a return and handling this from a different fashion may make the most sense.
He might need what do you call it, landscape designer to make the swell.
With the native vegetation,
Native
you'd probably get a
vegetation.
much better project that
Yeah.
way.
So you would prefer not to see any elevation raise on the
I think
wall?
you're gonna
I mean,
have
it's
more-
It's
so,
gonna make more
it's so,
problem than
it's,
solution.
it's away from the, most of it's away from the water, and most of it has a functioning wetland behind it. I mean, it's not, it's just this point where everything gets pushed down there with the wave energy, and it, without a long enough return, it goes, flanks it, and you
Right,
lose
it's
it.
find the easiest
Path of-
way out.
Path of least
So,
resistance.
you're not opposed to replacing the bulkhead with newer materials,
No.
adding
No.
the return, but keeping it the same
Right,
height?
don't harm the existing wetland, add to the return, build more wetland to shore up that
Yeah.
whole,
Increase that buffer. that
yeah,
whole
increase
south-
the buffer on
yep,
the
the
whole
southwest
property, and then I
corner.
think you're gonna get the benefits that you're looking for without creating the unintended consequences.
And if you just ask your property owner to look to the eastern portion of his property,
Mhm.
and that's what we're looking to establish or recreate on the western portion.
Eastern.
No.
Yeah. the
So
east-
this
yeah,
port
Yep,
will
Yep.
be
You should
this
send
one here.
those videos off to James's email.
I'll send them, but I should also send some revised plans, like go ahead and,
I would, and I would make a call to your guy as well.
yeah.
well, absolutely, I just
Yeah.
have to discuss with him
Yeah.
what's gonna work, but, so, send the videos along with these, proposed
Ideas.
changes
Yep.
and stuff, and then I should get those to you by September 6th, and we might be on the
Well,
next work session, or?
Before
Yeah.
I
before
would-
then, though,
yeah,
we'd have to
it'll-
get to
yeah.
it by August.
As soon as possible,
That-
the holiday
that-
coming.
I would say, yeah, like August 31st.
Is that Thursday, Jess? or is that
Yeah, it's
Winter
a
storm's
Thursday,
coming,
yeah.
too. He's gonna be
Yeah.
chewing
Well-
his nails, we'll get him done.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, and any of these changes that we make are still within the DEC's.
Yes.
Yeah.
We wouldn't really have to worry about
No.
winter
doing
storms.
anything with them,
The Atlantic is heating up pretty good, it looks like, right?
and it sure is. Well, now it's out west, they get it first, so.
Well, there's a lot of waves coming off, and there's a lot of things that they're looking at.
How old is this house?
I don't know, I really don't.
Ish.
It's a modern,
Is it-
I don't even wanna guess. It's a very modern looking house. I don't know
Right.
if it was renovated or built when they, if I had to guess when they were building houses like that, it was like in the 80s.
Really?
That's what the bulkhead looks like in the 80s.
That's when that's when that contemporary style house was
That's right.
popular.
The reason I'm asking is because the pool is in, it depends on what you refer to it as, but the roadside portion of the property in this, and that's an anomaly in this area, but it's it's allowing us to have more options because we're not having to work around a pool structure.
Yeah.
It's much better for the applicant too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Put a hold on this?
Yeah, he knows, you know what you have to do.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate the input.
Thank you, good luck.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so now we have general permit application for determination, final stamp plan review, Laura H. McKenzie, 6 feet out East Quad. Hello. How are you? You have what we need here with this one? You did everything you were supposed to do?
I sent it out to James.
All right, let's see, let's look at it, see what the survey says. See if we're Blue Book compliant now. Proper size voting docs and everything?
Yep, we received it, we're good.
You're good?
Okay.
All right, so let's advance it then. We got what we need, you're good.
Terrific.
Okay.
Thank you. That's
All right,
it.
that's it.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
That's it. We're
Good
good.
day.
Thank you for coming. Thanks for working through the process.
I appreciate your help. Thank you very much.
All right. Trustee Pell? No, Trustee Welker, actually.
This is 80 Cobb Isle Road. We have stamp plans after working through it at work session. So
right.
I'd like to request its approval.
Can
I mean,
advance it.
Whatever, advance it.
Trustee Parrish?
We have Southampton Town, 1194 Flanders Road. We got a full set of plans in.
Good? All right.
And the fees waived for the town?
It's McLean, so it's probably
They can
everything's
afford
in
to pay
order.
it too.
That's true, too.
Let's not go there.
All right, so we're good with all the general permit applications. Now we have waterfowl hunting location permit applications for determination. Renee Piazzi.
Good morning.
Morning. Thank you, Billy.
Take care now.
Thank you, Bill Mack. You can sign if you want.
In case we forget who you are.
In case.
Could happen.
It could.
They like paperwork downstairs.
Yes, they do. Alrighty, so waterfowl season is upon us, so we have some things to discuss today. First up would be Donald Law. There's no number. He's proposing a new location for a duck blind. And I followed our protocol for sending it off to the Bay Constables. Don Law does currently have 2 other blinds, so he's not on the wait list.
Other where?
Oh, sorry.
Little more.
It's okay, you stay
Okay.
on, he's talking.
All right. And so as per the Bay Constable's research, which I'm happy and thankful for their guidance with this is what Richard Frank said. Good afternoon. We have reviewed the attached application transfer, and this will have to be a trustee board discussion / decision if they want to add an additional blind in this area along Dune Road. Currently, there are 5 other blinds in the area ranging from approximately 855 feet to 1,115 feet, 1,200 feet, 1,500 feet. Let me know if you need anything else.
I think we're gonna, I think,
What's the description of where
Oh,
it is?
so sorry about that.
yeah, we need a site.
Sorry,
What's
we
the
just wanna pull it
description?
up.
Is there a photo?
What's,
Yeah.
what's the description on the, can you read that?
Yes, sorry, let me just grab
Meantime, I'll pull up.
James's, not for James. Oh, wait, here.
It's the same one.
What was the description?
So the description is the southeast side of Penniman's Creek and southwest of Shinnecock Bay.
So it's looking south.
Yes.
So,
So go north
Mm-hmm.
up to,
Go west.
No, it's on Dune Road, right? Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, Penniman's Creek.
you have their paperwork, or do I have their, who's got the paperwork? Do we
I have it all here. Would you like to review it?
I don't have this. No, what do you
That's
have
doc-
coming, what do you
you're
have coming in
doctors
from
now.
research? What's the research?
This is the research.
This is the research?
Keep going.
What did the Bay Constable say again?
Rich
you.
stated that there is, other blinds within the location and that it's basically the trustees board, he would like to see what the trustee board discusses.
they ranged from 800 to 1,200 to 1,500 feet away.
Can you
Yeah,
just-
so it was
Can you turn on the
855,
deaf line?
1,115 feet, sorry, 1,200 and then 1,500 as well, yeah. So it is a pretty, congested area, yeah.
We have to make sure they're not shooting at each other.
That's,
Mhm.
this looks like,
So it's essentially where the Village of Quogue is written on it?
That's, isn't
No,
that the
it's
lagoon that's by
Southeast
Dockers?
of Penniman's Creek into Shinnecock Bay.
It's,
So you
it's,
gotta go
it's on the
out.
north
Yeah.
side of the bay.
North side.
Scroll out.
No, that's not, this is showing me.
It's, I thought you guys
Oh.
said Dune Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading off the location he handwritten on the application, sorry.
So it's in that little lagoon?
Yeah, I mean, that's what these photos show, is that area.
What did Donnie Law write down?
Let me see.
this, they're gonna, it's 5 other
This is his,
applications there,
the
5 other
proposed
blinds there.
application,
Where's Dockers?
cover sheet.
Right here. This is Quogue Canal here.
Mhm.
This is Dockers right here. If you see.
The big
there.
lagoon.
Yeah,
It's just to east of that
Yeah.
on that point.
yeah.
So this is all,
It's all
This
man-made
isn't-
wetlands.
He's put
This is a
latitude and
trail?
longitude.
Yeah, there's a road that goes down there.
that's a road.
You can drive all the way down to the bay here. Yeah,
So
yeah.
this,
There's no,
no.
it's, Yeah, well,
Yeah, we-
if you got that many blinds there.
You need to have
There's,
GPS.
there's a road to the, just to the east, right? That's
It is an access
a
road.
dirt road?
Yes.
Right. And is there a
That's-
trail there as well, out on the wetlands?
You can drive your vehicle all the way down to the bay there.
And then the proposed location is in the southwest corner of that lagoon that
Yes.
abuts the property?
I believe that's all
where there's
CPF property
access?
we're looking at, and the lagoon is a man-made dredged canal that was made by Mr. Swan back in the 60s.
Right. So the location is, James, where you said sort of Village of Quogue?
But the applicant currently has 2 valid permits, so he would not be able to acquire a third one. in
Yes.
spots.
You would have to give one out.
Yes, I believe,
But this is congested
that
aside
is
from
one,
that.
what his plan to do so,
But he would need to give one up prior to.
prior to proposing.
Yes.
I think he's just wanting to see what we
Test the
say
water.
before he gives one up.
I don't understand this, so he's got a lot of blinds there, he says he's got 5 other blinds in the area.
Hmm.
There's not 5 blinds. He's talking about
They're out.
outside, but not in the creek there.
Right.
Yeah,
You
but
also
but-
need a resting area for the ducks.
resting area, but, true, but this is not what it says here, I'm trying to,
I think you should have the person come in.
From seeing the picture of what he mapped, and then the description of what he placed, it's actually different.
Yeah.
Very
it is.
different.
That's why it's confusing us.
Yeah. For sure.
So maybe he could revisit this and,
Amend his,
yeah,
But he would need
application.
to get rid of one of the.
Yeah,
Before
before-
he would even apply for this.
Right,
Mhm.
but also
Mhm.
there's concern about congestion
Thank
and
you.
about pedestrian and vehicular access to the east
you.
of the proposed location. And to the west? Is that a trail to the west as well? Nope, over just a little bit to the west.
There is a
That's another
village.
trail.
No, there's west further than
Yes.
that, there's a village trail that walks to the.
Right, there's
bay
a
there.
walk, yeah.
There's a
There's-
walkway.
There's a village walkway out
So-
to an observation area there.
Yep.
maybe that's what the constables are concerned about?
I would say, because that's not only used in the summer.
Yeah,
I think there's pedestrian and vehicular, east to the east and to the west.
all right, so what's your suggestion? Hold it,
I would hold it myself.
hold it. Parish, trustee Parish?
They should be, maybe have them come in and explain it.
All right. What else do you have?
All right, so we're gonna hold Donald Law's application, just to,
Please.
okay.
Yeah, have to have him come in.
Alrighty. Okay, so, next is for Mr. Powell. We have, Hunter Tracy, permit number 241. He wants to transfer this bind fully to Michael Marone. So Hunter Tracy, he's currently registered on blinds number 17 and, 241. And, he's obviously giving up blind number 241. He would like to Michael Marone. Michael Marone is not registered on any other blinds, and he's not on the wait list.
He's not on the waiting list?
No. We received
How-
current hunting licenses, duck stamp, proof of residency.
How many people are on the wait list?
Currently, there's 107 people. We did have one gentleman, Thomas Downs, remove himself from the list this year. That was the only person so
Was-
far.
Did he have
Is-
a co-permitter on this one?
Hunter Tracy? No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. He's the sole permit holder for this blind.
So this transfer then bypasses the whole wait list?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
which he should be a, co-permittee on there first, before he
Yeah, that's right, how
becomes,
it's set up.
because it's like, Mr. Tracy doesn't own that blind.
He could be giving it or selling it or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, it's
Yeah.
not in the spirit of our program.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ed, 100%.
So if he wants.
Historically, we've always allowed.
What?
Historically, you guys have always allowed a transfer to occur from one person to another without co-permitting.
We were supposed to change that, we never, the change never went through.
I'd be more comfortable if he was a co-permittee and then
Wait a
wa-
year.
go through that process.
How complicated does that make things for you guys?
Well, it's a public hearing for us, right?
No, not for us, for these guys in the office.
Well, not to jump places, but we also have permit number 12 to discuss in Mr. Parrish's area, and that's Dwayne Arniser. He would like to add Hunter Tracy as a co-permittee to a blind in lieu of Hunter transferring this blind to Michael Marone. I'm just letting you know that that was also like in.
Yeah.
How many
included.
blinds does Hunter Tracy have?
He's currently on 2. He only has 2, and he wants to give one up to be co-permitted onto Dwayne Arnister's blind, number 12.
So he can't give up to Mr. Marone if he's co-permittee?
Maybe Michael could put someone off the wait list with him as a co-permitter.
Yeah, if that would be like a recommendation to Michael, what if he's gonna
What
be
about
transferred
that?
this blind?
Yeah, I mean, we have a waiting list
Yeah.
for a reason.
Yeah, because we were supposed to change that. We had to be on a co-permitter before you
Yep.
have it switched.
Yes, we never.
Just-
Yeah, it doesn't say that in the blue book,
Right.
but just so you're aware.
That's-
Oh, yeah,
that-
we
right.
were supposed to change it, we were good.
But
Okay.
that's what I'm getting
I
at.
guess we
Changed
can, we
yet,
can
but-
do it now,
Right,
the
right.
way it
but-
is now.
Right, that's what I'm getting at. If it's in the
So-
blue book and it
Yeah.
meets the regulations now, like
So
some
I
of these
guess,
things,
yeah,
when you have like a new location and there's congestion and public safety concerns, obviously, that's
Paramount.
paramount, public safety. You don't want people shooting at each other, you don't want to be shooting at trails, and paramount public safety. These transfers, you know, if it meets the current Blue Book
Yeah, then,
regulation.
all right, if it meets the blue,
Then I
book,
think
then
we
I
have
think
to
we
do
it.
should,
Gotta go
we
with
should
that.
follow suit.
Yeah.
If we
And
wanna
then-
change it at the future, then we'll change it.
That's what we have, we try to do once
Yes.
before.
Okay, all
Yes,
right.
then you gotta.
I just wanna make that clear.
For
What,
sure.
what were
Okay.
the objections when we tried to do this before?
I don't, you know what happens with our
Was there a
board?
previous public hearing held to change the code?
No,
this
we
reason?
had
No?
discussed
We
it about
discussed
it, not
before
Okay.
COVID, and
Yeah.
then when it got put on the back burner, so.
I don't know, I just feel when there's 107 people on the wait list,
Well,
it's a
you know
little
what it is?
tricky.
It is tricky with hundred and
But
seven.
the way it is right now, you'd have to go with this transfer.
Right, because if it meets the Blue Book regulations
Yeah.
now, the problem with our situation is sometimes it's not specific to that, it's just specific to the fact that the board has been under so much pressure from every aspect of the town for various problems
Right.
and issues that you can only deal with so much at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and that's probably what's going on.
Hey, Ed, we still could recommend that he take someone off the wait list, to put it on.
You could, but
That's up to him, that would be up to him if you would want to.
Up to Michael Marone?
yeah.
Mhm.
But the public safety stuff is,
Yeah, no, I get
because
that.
we get
Yeah,
all the complaints.
that way we'd be accomplishing two things. We could ask them,
Yeah,
but
so
as of right now, according to the Blue Book,
we have to do it.
we'd have to do it, follow this
Okay,
procedure.
But
okay.
going forward, because I imagine that some of those people, if there are 107 people on there, have been on there in
Yes.
excess of,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually sent out an email last week, explaining all the years. I think right now, it's, people have been on the wait list for between, 10 to 12 years, that's like the longest amount of time
This
anybody's been on.
See, there are some people that,
But there's,
they don't-
yeah.
they say no, and they go back
well,
on.
but then there's some people that look at that wait list and they have no hope. You know, they're like, it's so long, they don't wanna go on it. They're hunters, they hunt with people, and they've been hunting with people, and they're helping maintain the blinds and do all this other stuff. You got an aging group of hunters that is
Yeah.
taking younger hunters under their wing. They, huh? Yeah, they may not be on the wait list because they don't have the wherewithal.
Yes.
Maintaining a duck blind
It's a lot of work.
is a lot of work
Yeah.
and expense.
It's a lot of
in
expense, yeah.
reality. So, you know,
We did witness a lot of those transfers last year too.
right, so I mean, someone that say they have to be on the wait list to get Yeah, and I think that's going a little too far based on that reality of the situation. Certainly, public safety and congestion issues are big concern, because that's,
Well,
Um,
if we allow this one to be executed as it is right now, then we can take on the next one, correct?
yeah, if the next one meets Blue Book regulations, right? Does everything else meet Blue Book regulations?
So let me just go through them before I jump, to the second part of like the Hunter Tracy one. Let's talk about, Eric Rayner, no number, it's a denial of a waterfowl hunting location, new application, sorry. And this is in Bill Parrish's area.
So it was already denied
By the Bay
previously by
Constable's
the Bay
recommendation, it
Constables?
was, yes.
Okay. It has
Mhm.
not come before us before?
No, this is the first time it's meeting the board, yes.
What was the
Um,
reason for denial, what did they say?
For sure. So for the reason for the denial is, good morning all. We have reviewed the attached waterfowl location request. It was determined that there is no public access to this area. The Wyandanch Hunting Club has strict rules on no discharging of firearms south of Old Country Road, since they manage all hunting on properties surrounding the pond. Discharging a firearm in this area would not be advisable due to the close proximity of surrounding club property, school, and residential areas. We have handled complaints in this area as well as south of this location where shot has rained down on the businesses, roadways, etc. And although the trustees reserve the right on their decision to approve, we feel that this location should not be approved. Need anything else, let me know.
Again,
Could I-
congestion, public safety.
Can I just see where it is exactly?
Yeah, of course, sorry. So it is, I actually only have coordinates here, but
Can we draw it up by coordinates?
yeah, let me grab the map, I apologize. So it's south of South Country Road. It's right next to the Long Island Country Club. The creek is here. Let me just pass this over to you.
What's the Wyandanch Hunting Club?
I'm not familiar with that.
So it's property they own?
Nor am I, but
Country Road.
it's another area that, you know what it is, we're so saturated with these things.
Because the town borderline, I believe, is also like right there too.
So it's Eastport,
Yeah.
and it's Narrow River?
Mm-hmm.
Nope, too far.
Right there, yeah.
So it's south of Montauk Highway.
That's it.
Yes, that's it, right there.
Is that Montauk
North.
Highway
So
or
it's
is
south of
that?
Old Country Road.
Oh, sorry,
South of
okay.
North.
Sorry, that took so long, I apologize,
No, no.
guys. Yeah, so he's proposing, or he proposed, so you can see per this picture, it's right in the, top northeast corner of it.
Okay. So, and.
What is the
the-
distance to houses?
That I'm unsure of, but in Rich's recommendation, it was stated that there is a high residential area and a school as well close by.
And there's no public access?
No, and there's no public access.
And that property is owned by Wyandanch?
By the Wyandanch Hunting Club. And they have very strict rules on no discharging of firearms south of Old Country Road. Because they manage all of the surrounding hunting
But
properties.
the recommendation was not to grant it. I mean,
Yes.
they did research again, they did do some research and give the trustees a leg, so it doesn't sound like something that's
No.
a good idea.
Mm-hmm, agreed.
Denied.
Right, so let's just deny it, that's it. It's,
Okay.
it's a challenge hanging on to the ones we have.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going back to Dwayne Arnister's permit number 12, where he'd like to add Hunter Tracy as a co-permittee.
Okay, because that was just Hunter Tracy's new application?
No,
That was-
the previous one was Hunter Tracy wanting to transfer his, blind number 241 to Michael Marone,
Okay.
who's not on the wait list. That's what
Okay.
sparked our, conversation. So yes, Dwayne Arnister is looking to add Hunter Tracy as a co-permittee to his blind number 12. And as I stated before, Hunter Tracy is registered to blinds number 17 and 241, but Hunter is wanting to transfer blind number 241, to Michael Marone.
So he's giving up 241 in order to be co-permitted with Dwayne?
Yes.
Yeah.
and Michael Marone.
Once again, we have current
We have to make
licenses.
sure too, that, the blind, when he's leaving, that the person's taken over or he's removing it. Because some of these people just abandon their blind,
Mm.
right, Ed?
Yes, I do, Bill.
So we have to make sure of that.
And it becomes,
Is there a recommendation by,
What Rich said is everything looks good on our end. Trustees make final determination if they want to allow transfers.
You know, just to make a point, the Blue Book regs are different on permit applications and transfers. With the transfers, the Bay Constables have to approve it. That's the first prong. And then second, resolution of the trustees. So they're not making a recommendation with transfers. They're actually approving or not. So that's something we should probably clarify. And that's different from permit applications where they make a recommendation.
So, sorry, to
So are we in, for all of these actions that we've taken so far today, are we consistent with what we're supposed to be doing here?
I believe so, but just when it comes to transfers, and I'll read you the section, it's 38C2. The transfer of a waterfowl hunting location permit is not permitted unless the transfer of such permit is approved by the Bay Constables and by resolution of the Board of Trustees. So those are the two criteria. It's different when they talk about someone just getting a permit, not a transfer, then it's a recommendation from the Bay
So we're
Constables.
okay.
So it's a yes,
Well,
no.
I didn't hear an approval from the Board of from the Bay Constables. They would have to say, it seems like they're making a recommendation again, and they actually need to say, we approve this permit or not, before the trustees can then go on to resolution, technically, by the Blue Book. I just
So
wanna-
for clarification, Mark, you're saying that for both the transfer and for the addition of a co-permittee, the Bay Constables need to give approval before?
Well, I'm only for a transfer I'm talking about.
Only for the
Yeah,
transfer.
yeah,
Okay, okay.
I don't know about the co-permittee.
Okay.
So it's the language then that you're after, because it's a
Yeah.
recommendation versus an approval.
That's right, they're treating it like it's a permit instead of a transfer. And the way the Blue Book's written, when we could always change it, right now it says
You
they
have
gotta
to go
approve.
back and fix the language.
Yeah, for the record, for Hunter Tracy's, back to your area, for him transferring the blind to Michael Marone,
Yeah.
Rich's language says everything looks good on our end, trustees make the final determination. So we want Rich to
Approve.
approve
The
it
word,
rather than.
word approved or not approved should, or two words not
Yeah,
approved should be in
put
there.
it in there.
Okay, okay,
So
So
we
an
can't do
email
the
to-
last
yeah.
one until he approved, fix the language.
right,
That way they make sure it meets all the tests in the Blue Book.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're making sure that it meets the regulations.
Okay, so for the record then, can we, I just would like to go back to Hunter Tracy's number 241, the transfer, just so everything's clear. We're going to not approve it, we're going to hold it
We're gonna hold it.
get Rich's email.
Yeah, in
Okay.
the meantime, ask him, is the guy gonna take over his blind, physical blind, yeah,
Mhm.
or is he gonna be moving?
Okay. And then, jumping back, I apologize, to the co-permittee, application, Mr. Parrish for Dwayne Arnister and, Hunter Tracy, would you like to hold this as well?
yes?
We have to.
Okay, yeah. All right.
You can
Okay,
explain.
no
to-
questions
you can
on the other ones?
explain to
The other
Hunter
ones are all
Tracy
set,
that
right?
It's just
Two
language.
denials.
Yes,
Just-
for
yeah.
sure,
A
of course.
denial and,
Thank you.
Yes, thank
Two
you
denials.
guys.
I think two.
Well, let's,
The very first one. Was it denial or a hold?
Donald Law, we were holding it,
Oh, to have him come in.
to have him come in to
Donald Law,
fix the
yeah.
application.
More info.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not, yeah.
It's not done.
It's actually not like running current with what he gave us and then the GPS marked picture as well, so,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
All good?
Very
thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you
Linnea.
guys.
all right, so we discussed all that. We discussed all this. All right, so now I think what we need to do is adjourn our work session and go into executive session.
Second.
Discussion personnel and litigation issues, seconded by trustee Welker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a nice one, everybody. We'll be back for the general session.